And we are live.
We are back again. That's right. PM in the PM Pong and Mav in the PM on a Thursday evening. It is February the 8th. It feels like it's been a month since we did this with all the news, Mav, with the shit hitting the fan, the craziness going on out there. It literally, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, it's been weeks, right, since we did this? No, it's been a week, but it's been so crazy. Chat, I hope you're all doing well. I can't see you all yet. I'll fix that, remedy that here in a second, but hope you're all doing well. I am in the hot seat tonight. I just walked in the door, popped out with Mav, said hi, cool, let's go, and we went. So that's how tonight is going. You guys are all used to that. Most of you who have been here, I have seen myself or Mav plenty of times be late, but apologies. Again, don't like to start late, but real life and work, it is what it is. So anyways, thanks for all being here. Thank you all for being here. We do have a lot to dive into, Mav. We have a lot to dive into. Happy Helldivers 2 launch day, by the way, which I know Mav has already checked out, had a few issues as people have been having. I know Jasper and Steele have been on. I know Fuzzy's been on. I can't wait. Right after this show, I'm hopping in. But happy Helldivers 2 launch day to everybody who is going to enjoy that, whether on PS5 or on PC. But we got a lot to get into, Mav. It's been a heck of a week. Like I said, it feels like weeks with everything that's happened, with all the discourse, with the craziness, meltdowns, jumping off ships, abandoning Xbox, as you can see from our thumbnail. Caitlin, thank you very much. Thank you. You could have left the wording in on the bottom. That was, but everybody knows what that meme is. Yeah. Everybody knows CJ. Everybody knows CJ.
She was supposed to include that. And like, I don't know, because like, I don't know if we can have the one word on the thumbnail or not. I don't know.
Really, you can't?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like breaking rules, so whatever. No, but thank you for that thumbnail. It's exactly what I was thinking of yet again, Caitlin, when I mentioned it this morning. Obviously, we are going to jump into that. Actually, Mav and I know Mav's already talked about it a bunch. I have talked about it not since the major stuff hit. But I certainly have some things to say, but more so, I think we're going to take a trip to Speculation Town, like we'd like to do here on Fun Speculation Network, and talk about maybe what we see in the future. But I got to get to my co-host with the most, the man who owns half of this Fun Speculation Network. That's right, the one and only Mav Rant himself. Mav, what's going on, brother? How you been?
Been good. Been great. Yeah, been playing some Helldivers 2 today. Got up. Well, yeah, I got up crazy early, and then played this morning with Steele and Jasper, and then had another run with a little bit with Steele and Jasper, and then also Fuzzy and Jasper after Steele had to go.
Nice.
So I played a few hours today. Got some good time in, several runs. Early on getting it started, like right around launch time, it was there was some rough stuff trying to get it going. But you know, that was like right away, and so eventually I got it going. And then what I had the problem was there was this weird bug anytime I tried to open the like menu to invite them, or I went into the pause menu, like the second I hit the button, like instant crash.
Ooh.
Yeah. So like, and it was continuous. I tried restarting PC, I tried to do all that, but then when I got on this afternoon, that was already fixed. They had already fixed that. So,
yeah, they've already had like 2 or 3 patches already. So like,
I had no problems then. It ran super smooth. We've had like, I've had like 2 other random crashes, or maybe 3.
Okay.
But the one thing that's kind of good is that it launches up real fast, and you can join back in progress with your friends, like even if they're in the middle of a mission. But yeah, so it's had some issues on PC for sure. That are kind of annoying. But ultimately, I have been having a blast with it, and I know Steele and Jasper have been too because it's, dude, it gets there's times
Intense.
when it gets fucking crazy, bro. Steele was streaming, and like when I got back on, I kind of just I saw he was on, so I just hopped in his
Yeah.
game, which I could just
Yeah.
easily do, just hop in his game and like
That's nice.
drop
That's nice.
in, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know, he had joined some random session, and this was like insanity, dude. I like there was just fucking things everywhere, man. You got these like Star Wars AT-AT looking things walking around
Yeah.
all over the place. You got Terminators going everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, it's nuts, man. Like it's a blast. I really like the mechanics of the game. Like they kept the core essence of the first Helldivers and kind of like
Right.
the way things kind of work, but and it's still got the sense of humor too that made it real fun, right? But then like they put it in that new perspective. And one interesting thing is like graphically, like there's different times like when you're in certain menu selection screens or like in loading
Mhm.
screens, like things look really different. It's like there's like several different graphics modes that they're using in
Really?
here. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
It's like there's like some NPCs in the ship that just absolute like look like from the original Xbox days. Like they're just like such
Wow,
stupid crap.
really?
But then when you're in the game, actually in the
Yeah.
level, and actually playing the game, the gliding and the atmospheric like fog and everything
Mhm.
is can be fucking gorgeous, dude.
The
Like
explosions,
yeah,
especially because I've been seeing
yeah.
videos. People have been posting videos. The explosions and some of the actual effects from like some of the super weapons. Yo, I was like, what are we? This looks crazy.
Yeah.
This looks like a movie sometimes. Like I was getting
It's
pretty
crazy.
stoked
The
with it.
atmospheric fog with the lighting and stuff, dude. It's
Yeah.
like I was walking, I was like, man, I can't believe this looks like this, dude. Like it was great. It looks so gorgeous at times. And then then you'll be on the ship and see one of those NPCs like, what the fuck?
The fuck is this?
Like how does this the same?
Yeah.
How is this
Yeah.
the same game? Like it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, besides that, like it's been a blast because the things that matter the most
Mhm.
is just how well the game plays. There's
Yeah.
fun ass
Gunplay feels good.
but gunplay feels excellent, dude. Like
Yeah.
the system for like calling in like
Yeah.
airstrikes, all that kind of stuff is like
Yeah.
badass. Like the diving mechanic and movement
Mhm.
is like top notch, excellent, bro. Like the way you have to work with your friends and then watch out for each other because of like the friendly fire. Everything it just creates a special like kind of feeling. And it reminds me a lot of the first game, but like brought into like another level for a
Yeah.
smaller team like this, and doing this
Mhm.
kind of game. Like I see the feedback on for the PC release, and I get it because there's a lot of
Of course.
issues. But
Of
I
course.
do have faith that because of how they're addressing it, that they're gonna turn a lot of that stuff around, and like ultimately, I think this game probably will have some legs because of how fun it is. So
Yep.
we'll see how they do.
Cool. It's been a great show, everybody. We're gonna go play some Helldivers 2 now that Mav just pumped me up even more. No. What else you been getting into? Anything else, Mav, before Helldivers 2?
A lot, dude.
Yeah,
Suicide Squad. Yeah,
bro.
bro, it's so
Alright.
fun. It's like everybody complains about games all the time. I'm just like, I'm playing these games. Like these are so fucking awesome, you know.
Uh,
Suicide Squad's a blast. Been playing on console too, and it runs like a
mhm.
dream on there as
Oh,
well
you did
now.
double dip already.
Shh.
Secrets out. I mean,
But yeah, like,
yeah,
dude, the game's so good. I also had a chance to dive into a little bit of Skull and Bones open beta. I
nice.
I literally played for like 5 minutes.
Quadruple A.
Yeah, quadruple
According,
A.
according to Eves.
It was so like I just did the opening scene thing,
Sure,
and then
sure.
I had to shut it off. Right, so I don't have
Yeah.
actually any real way to judge this game. I like it. What my 5 minutes of playtime and this opening sequence, it should never be taken as like like this is what the game is. But
Yeah, no. No.
I will say, like there was a lot of ship combat at that
Mhm.
part, right? And it was arcadey as fuck. It was really weird. Like it was like I was playing like a little arcade shooter type thing instead of like
Okay.
yeah. there was like ships everywhere. It's it was different. It's not like I expected it at all.
It's like a shmup. Is this like a
Yeah,
shmup?
I
Is it
don't know.
bullet
It's like
hell?
you just like kind of zoom in. It's like like it's not like you would expect from
Sure.
like a pirate game or I don't know.
So no semblance to Black Flag combat then.
No,
Oh,
yeah, no.
okay. Okay.
Not that, not unless my memory is completely off. It was
Yeah.
nothing like that. I remember like Black Flag's combat kind of like being a little bit tense and stuff, and like, intense, and like you really having to kind of like position yourself and all those kind of things properly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
This is none of that mattered
No. No.
whatsoever.
Just fire.
Yeah,
Just fire.
and maybe it's just this first 5 minutes, and it was supposed to be that way. I don't know.
Is it one of those intros where you have like a fully upgraded ship and they start you out fully powered?
Maybe,
so
man.
It feels that way.
I could like just aim anywhere the hell I wanted to, and just like
you were hitting shit.
You just like shoot the hit the fire button, and, just like, and then you like wait for it to just reload almost, and then you just do it again, and you can just aim wherever you want. You can just steer your ship like crazy and just like ram into people. There's like your ship just keeps surviving. I don't fucking. That was the first.
Okay.
Like I said, it was only a few minutes, right? But it's not what I would have pictured or dreamt of when I thinking of wanting a pirate game in that 5 minutes, right?
Well, we've never had quadruple A before.
Again,
so
yeah. 5 minutes.
To be expected.
And so that's like, it's like you judge a piece of food or some good food just by licking it or something. I haven't experienced anything, right? You know what I mean? But like, it tasted bad from that one, from that one thing. So I don't know. Yeah. So I've been playing so many things, dude. I've been playing in bed a lot, doing Steam Link on my tablet, and I've been doing console streaming there too. So like at night when we're watching TV and stuff, I'll be playing that. And there's a lot of good games right now, bro.
We knew it.
Yeah, so many. Good games.
Have you started Relink yet?
I started, and then I was like, I don't have time to get into this, so I turned it right back off. Right, but I saw what it looked like, and I moved around on the ship for a few minutes, and I was like, wow, this actually looks really good. So, but I didn't have time to actually play.
Yeah. Jay Lewis says your volume is a little low, especially compared to me.
This is because you're one loud ass motherfucker, man.
That's true. I mean, that can throw things off for sure.
Yeah. I'll talk louder because I can't jack my audio up any.
Okay.
I can turn Pong down, but I don't want to do that either.
Well, why not? That's what Steel does to me all the time on Living Split Screen.
He mutes me. Is Pong too loud or am I too quiet?
Am I blowing your eardrums? Let me know that.
You are a little loud. I'll turn you down.
Well, that's probably because of all the setting changes I did in Discord, because we've been using Discord for party chat.
Yeah, I had you.
Remember, you guys said,
"Oh, that's right."
Yeah,
so we had to jack your audio up for that.
We talked about this. This is exactly what was going to happen. We hopped to do a show.
Right. Okay. Well,
because we messed with it. Okay.
I just adjusted that here. Here we go. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, eat your bike. Stay high. Triple FF with a 5 bomb, a $4.99 bomb, but I'm gonna upgrade that to a 5 bomb to start off the show. Says, what's up, fellas? Just gotta say, the worst part about Helldivers is seeing that PlayStation Studios logo when it loads up. LOL. Well, stay high. I guess if that's the worst part of the game, that ain't too shabby, right? That ain't too shabby. Thank you, sir, for the $5 super chat to start the show. Appreciate that. So yeah, my week so far. Obviously, I have not jumped into Helldivers 2 yet. That will be happening after the show for a bit, because I'm super excited. But me and Steel have played a considerable amount of Suicide Squad. We are now in Endgame. I'm now Paragon level 20.
Oh,
the last time. Yeah. You go up pretty quickly. It's not like a grind. So yeah, I'm Paragon level 20.
I have a question. I don't want to give spoilers, right? Because
no spoilers.
I left off, and I've been doing other missions besides but I finished the last Justice League member part, right? Mm-hmm. And then they told me that there's like a
Mhm.
bunch of the other things I gotta do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
After that,
Mhm.
is that kind of like the end game, or
Uh, well,
because they
I
said
mean, are
there's
you past Brainiac?
no. So,
Okay.
but they said there's you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so do I get like is it actually after all of that that they just told me about? That's the end game. So I got to do
Mhm.
all of those steps now to get to end game, or is that kind of what the end game is?
Kind of what the end game is,
Okay, right.
but
I'm trying to
yeah.
ask this question to
Yeah,
you
I know
without
it's very
spoiling
hard.
the game,
It's
right?
very hard because there's levels to the end game.
Right.
There's levels to the end game, but it's fun, right? It
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
an absolute blast. Of course it's grindy. It's a looter shooter. Again, folks, for anybody who thought this was a single player game, okay, listen, it's a looter shooter. You can play it single player, it's great, but it's a looter shooter. So yes, there is grind to it, but the grind is actually really nice. Like constantly upgrading stuff, constantly finding new weapons and attachments and all that good stuff to put on yourself, equipment to put on yourself. I shouldn't say attachments, but equipment to put on yourself. So you're finding stuff constantly. But yeah, Steele and I have played a lot of Suicide Squad. I'm loving the end game. We were having a blast just running duos the other night. Of course, the AI that comes with you is really good too. But this game, easy 8-5 for me. Easy 8-5 at this point for me. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say game of the year, but I am definitely going to say well worth the money. And like I've always said, if you're on the fence and if you're going to wait for a sale, please just when it goes on sale, jump into it. If you're a looter shooter fan, there is a lot of goodness here, a lot. And the story itself is absolutely incredible. Again, from start to end, as somebody who had zero interest, kept me captivated the entire time and enjoyed the entire run through the campaign. And I think the campaign total, I think we probably, well, it's hard to judge because we were jumping between everybody's games and catching people up, but probably close to 15 hours, depending on. So 13 to 15 hours for the campaign, well worth it. Price of admission, and the end game is good, and they're only going to add more. So if the facts are they're going to keep supporting this, and we already know they got a year of content, Suicide Squad is lined up already out the gate to be one of the most complete games as a service looter shooters that we've played in a very, very long time, from start to finish and end game. Game's incredible. Game's fun as hell. Steele again is somebody who will instantly put down a game after he's done. He's tried the end game. If the end game doesn't keep him, he's out, and he'll admit that. He will say it. Sometimes he says that he doesn't regret the price of admission. He had a good time with it, but he's just not going to put effort into it. From unless something's changed over the past couple of days, he said no. This is going to stay in the rotation. This is definitely something he'll go back to. So speaks volumes for
Yeah.
somebody who does have a lot of experience there. So Suicide Squad has been absolutely incredible. I've played a little bit of Phil's new favorite game, Brotato,
Yeah.
that came into
I
Game
did too.
Pass. Yeah, I played a little bit of that. Probably a couple hours into that game. Not as addicting as Vampire Survivors,
Right.
right? Not as addicting, but as a roguelike, kind of has that same loop a little bit to it. And I had a good run the other night. I'm not gonna lie, I had a nice run the other night. And it gets tough. It's actually pretty challenging once you get up there,
Yeah.
depending on what you select. But I had a good run. My dude had max guns, and I was lighting people up. I had turrets. I had like 3 turrets at a time out. Like it was crazy. So Brotato, it's in Game Pass. Go download it. It's a fun little game if you like that style. Like I said, not as addicting as Vampire Survivors, but still a quality game. And then Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I know Steele's been rocking and rolling on that. Steele definitely has more time gaming wise than I do, but especially recently. But he's already level 19 or something like that for some of his characters. 20. I'm in chapter 2 now. Game gets better and better and better and better. The more I play it, what a beautiful JRPG. Now I know why when the demo hit PS5 and PS4, so many people in the community on that side were talking about it and we're praising it and we're saying it was a great time. This is a modern day classic JRPG. It is just what I love, what I originally fell in love with JRPGs, it's just in its 2024 form. And I can't praise this game enough. Again, whether you have a PS5 or PS4 or you got a PC, if you're looking for that JRPG, action-based JRPG, you can't go wrong with Grand Blue Fantasy Relink from what I've played so far. Loving every minute of it. I know Steele's having a great time with it. Haven't played co-op yet. I found out that you can jump in anytime. It's just side missions that you do co-op that you can kind of set up and just hop into. So I'm planning on doing that with Steele and maybe Mav too. We'll get Mav in there and rock out. But man, I love all the characters. Love the writing, love this art direction. I already praised that last week. Just a really high quality game here. And definitely loving that.
Yeah.
Jump back in a little bit of Diablo, season 3, with the festival going on. They have a new festival going on just to check it out. Not as good as some of the other holiday stuff that they've done. I wasn't as impressed with this one, but damn, if that game isn't just fun. Diablo is going to be installed forever, I think, at this point, unless Path of Exile 2 comes out and just kills it. Diablo 4, I can just hop in anytime, solo or with a group, and I can just go run and just have a fun time, grind it out.
It's kind of one of those games, if you're just like, I'm just going to want something mindless just to run around in for a while and chill.
It's so good.
You know, it's just like never not fun to play.
Not at all. Not at all. So yeah, that's been my week of gaming. Like I said, I can't wait to jump into Helldivers 2 tonight. Check it out. But what a stretch run here. We are in a hell of a run of video games. Actually, I did play a little bit more Tekken 8 too.
It's been an expensive run, bro.
Yeah. Massively. This is eating into the budget big time. And I wound up pre-ordering Homeworld 3 and then finding out it was delayed till May.
Oh. Ooh, can you get your pre-order back for now? I mean, that's.
I could. I probably could. No, because I went through CD keys. So.
Oh yeah.
So I'm stuck. I did it like the same day,
right?
And when I got home to put in the code, then all of a sudden I pulled up the internet and I looked and I'm like, "What?" They just announced that they were delaying it again till May 8th or something like that. So I'm gonna have to wait on Homeworld 3. But it is what it is. I've got it pre-ordered. Can't wait for that game. The game looks gorgeous. Anyways, but yes, it has been an expensive run, eaten into the budget big time, but I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain.
This is what I mean. It should be like this all the time, man. It's like, it's so amazing.
We're spoiled. We are spoiled rotten right now. And it's not stopping because Dragon's Dogma 2 is next month. We got Unicorn. We got Unicorn. Whatchamacallit from Atlas next month.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is hitting too. Like,
I don't care about that, so we're cool with
that. I do.
I
don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna get it at launch now though, just because of all these other games, and you know, I tend to play more multiplayer stuff than single player generally, like anyway. So, like, single player games a lot of times are like kind of like my chill games, but like I just love playing multiplayer stuff, man. I don't know. I have a problem with that. I think, you know, 'cause those always consume way much more time, you know, but you don't ever finish them. You know what I mean? It's not like you don't finish a multiplayer game.
No, and we've got Enshrouded to play. We got to play Enshrouded.
Yeah.
I got V Rising now, so I got to play some V Rising. So yeah, I loaded up beyond what I can do, or what I can handle, but I don't care. This is what I always do. This is the way I play. I'm back in grazing mode. We're good. Yep. I want to get back to Starfield. Listen, now that I got, oh god, it's just
they keep insane. Updating it with all this awesome shit, man.
I have to see it. it, man. Now that I got my OLED hooked up, I want to see it on the big screen for my PC. I haven't done that yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet with your?
No, I haven't loaded it up. No. Yeah,
if it looks like this is not OLED TV right here, right? But like, I don't know what, like I said before, I don't know what magic shit is in this TV, but it makes Starfield fucking like shine like crazy, bro. I could not imagine it on your fucking LG, like OLED.
I can't wait,
bro. With all the bells and whistles and everything turned on, oh, you're gonna be, dude. New Atlantis is gonna look fucking
insane,
different to you. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, my PC villain arc has started. I think. So we're going to talk a little bit.
I was
It's
just
bad.
joking about that with Jasper and
Yeah.
Steel when I was playing Helldivers, because like when I was going through there was this night environment, right? And there was a planet in the backdrop, and then there was a moon in the backdrop, and you had all this atmospheric fog, and you had all these other things, right? And the gun had flashlights shining through it, and then you had
Mhm.
the rays from the moon shining across like the atmosphere and stuff too. And I'm just looking at all this stuff, and we're playing and everything, and like it's we're having a blast, and it's like I'm just like guys, like I'm kind of starting to really enjoy this PC gaming more and more and more lately. Suicide Squad, like I will say though, like the console version of Suicide Squad
Yeah.
is really fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Like I
That's good to hear.
I did not expect it, like when I launched it on there, to
Mhm.
look and run like it did. It's really solid. It's like butter, bro.
I
Uh,
mean, Rocksteady, a veteran dev team, actually did some work and optimized
yeah.
their fucking game for
I
both console and PC. Crazy, bro.
I was surprised because like, WB Montreal couldn't get anywhere near
Mhm.
close to that with Gotham Knights, with how the
Right.
optimization was, but like this is optimized like crazy, bro. It is really really good. So like if you get the Xbox version or whatever version you get on that, you're gravy on that game for
That's
sure.
crazy, bro. That's crazy after what they said about
Oh,
Gotham Knights.
and the cross progression just works ultra seamless, dude.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, it was just like I had just walked away from Steam and from my PC and just booted it up. It's crazy.
I can't believe that's possible, man, after what we were told about Gotham Knights. And there's a lot more going on in Suicide Squad, I'll
Yeah.
tell you that fucking much. I should also mention, I will have some thoughts coming down the road. Not quite sure when. Probably in about a week and a half, somewhere in that. Week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I will give you guys a heads up. I did pick up my first ever expensive controller. I did actually make the commitment at this point to move to I've never bought a controller outside of the basic controller.
Yeah.
Ever. Ever. So I did wind up picking up the Turtle Beach Stealth. So I will have some thoughts on that. The Ultra, the new one that came out with the Hal sticks and all that kind of stuff. So now that I'm switching back and forth between console and PC, I've watched all the reviews on it. Makes it very simple to do. Again, this old guy needs all the help he can get. So, I
I
need the special triggers and I need that kind of stuff. So we're gonna test it out. I'll let you guys know what I think about it. So that
really
is
want
on the
to
way.
know how you like it when you get it, man.
I will.
I finally got a Elite Series 2 recently, and like Target had it on sale on their website for like
Mhm.
I think it was like $89.99 on the website or something like that.
Ooh. Yeah.
So this was the core one. So
Mhm.
but on the shelf it was like 130 something.
Mhm.
So I was just like, Kate was like, maybe they'll match the website. And I was like, no, they won't do that. Usually the stores will say they don't match their online because it's like different or whatever. But they were like, yeah, I'll match it. I was like, okay, just because he overheard Kate asking. So I went ahead and
Wow.
got it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I went
Nice.
ahead and got it there, and they just marked it down to the price that was online, and then I think it was Polybaba online. It sent a link to like what he got for like the accessory kit for it. So
Mhm.
I
The
went
extra.
on Amazon and got that too. So I got kitted out. I'm enjoying it. No issues so far. So but yeah, I was thinking about getting your Turtle Beach that you're
Yeah.
getting, but it's just it's too expensive, too fancy for me, Pong.
It did. Hey, again, first time ever. First time ever. But
Too fancy.
but my basic Xbox controller is starting to get minor drift. So at
Mm,
that point, I was just like,
yeah.
I've got the Starfield one, right? I got my custom controller that I made through labs or whatever at Xbox. But I was just like, at this point, I'm playing so much. Now I'm playing even more with PC. It's got the HAL joystick. I'm like, all the reviews, sure, there's always going to be minor things with every controller, but the stuff that I've heard so far is just like, okay, whatever. And I'm not caring about the RGB lights so I can turn those off and get the max battery life, which a lot of people have talked about. Not caring about the social aspect on my screen, but the ease of use between PC and Xbox is what I really want. And just being able to pick up the controller and whatever I'm playing on, just have it ready. That's what I'm looking for. So we're going to test it out. Again, I've never played with a controller like this. Never, ever had a controller like this. So we're going to see how it goes. So this is a big commitment for me.
Yeah.
I've sworn off spending this much on any type of accessory. Like, I'm like, yo, no. We're not going to do this. But I did it. So I'll have some thoughts on that. But okay. We're already almost an hour since I was late. But let's get into some stuff here. But first, do have to shout out the amazing chat. Again, already 175 freaking awesome people. And we're not going to keep you waiting tonight. We'll dive into the absolute insanity over the past couple weeks. We will dive into it and we'll have some thoughts. Like I said, Mav's got all of his thoughts kind of laid out, but I'm interested in hearing them. I listened to a little bit today with you on Boom too, as well. Mav, great show as always. Obviously, I told you I went back and listened to your Mav rant at whatever 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning the next day. I went back and listened to it, so I know kind of where you're sitting at. But we do got some things to speculate about because I want to get your thoughts on that. So, chat, listen up, y'all. TK chilling. What is going on? Thank you for being here and joining the show. Amit Kumar, of course, is in the house. Louis Jose, as always, is in here. We got the one and only Polly Baba joining us. What's going on, Polly? Great to see you. He says rear paddle placement is the most important to me. Once you get used to it, mapping to whatever you want, there's no going back. That's what I hear. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna learn all the tricks because I'm gonna use it fully. I spent a lot of money. John Ravioli, what's going on? Great to see you in here. We got Quick Draw Canuck in the house. Says loving Baldur's Gate 3 so much. Oh, that's another one I gotta get back to. Man, 60 hours in, and I haven't been back to Baldur's Gate 3.
We're like,
and now I can play that on my big screen. Oh my God, life is gonna be good. Why so serious is in here? What's going on? Why? What just happened is also in the house. What's going on? Great to see you both in here. We got the one and only Web Dave in the house. What's going on, Web? You guys have been crushing it with your shows. Congratulations again, Dave, to all your success over there. Appreciate you joining us. Wilfrey Rosario's in the house. What's going on? We got the one and only the brother from another Steel Rain dropping in. Again, been talking to this guy a lot in the back room. I will tell you this. If you're going to join us for Living Split Screen on Saturday, there's going to be some interesting conversations. This is one of the very few times that Steel has a whole different perspective on things than I do. Like, to the point where we've had multiple discussions now, and we're trying to explain to each other in different ways of what we mean. So Saturday is going to be interesting because that doesn't happen very often, ever. So it's going to be interesting on Saturday, Living Split Screen. But Steele and I have been talking a lot about the stuff going on, obviously doing a lot of Suicide Squad runs and stuff. So good to see you, brother. Great to see you. And I hope we're going to talk tonight and play some Helldivers too as well. Alvin, what's going on? Says Pong, you'll never go back. That's what I'm hoping. I spend a lot of money. I'm hoping I never want to go back again to a regular controller. That's what these things are supposed to do for you. And again, this little guy needs a lot of help, especially in shooters. Nate Dogg, what's going on here? Nate Dogg says, anybody see Kobe's statue? I saw some glimpses of it. I have not taken a whole look at it, but shout out to Kobe. Rest in peace, good sir. Always Kobe, probably my second favorite player next to MJ, of course. Love Kobe. So good to see them celebrating him. Decado is in the house. What's going on, Decado? Talos Ray, of course, is in here. What's going on, Talos? We got the one and only brother from another 3-bit in the house as well. 3-bit actually finished Suicide Squad. 3-bit is actually playing Endgame in Suicide Squad. Unbelievable that 3-bit actually did that, but he did it. So good shout out to you, 3-bit. We got Spiton 13 in the house. What's going on, Spiton? Depka's in here. What's going on, Depka? Says Brotato is a good game for the daily Game Pass rewards. Yes. If all you achievement hunters out there, that thing's got like a billion different achievements. You're getting 2s and you're getting 3s and you're getting 5s. So if you don't like those odd numbers, stay away from Brotato. I know some of you have this thing about the numbers too, and Brotato's not a good one for that. But anyways, it does have a lot. Who else? Garcia's in the house. What's going on, Garcia? Great to see you in here. Brother from another Psychonauts is in the house. What's going on, Psycho? Great to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us tonight. Froggy T. Wright is in the house. Always good to see you, Froggy. Who else? We got the Herd Theorem in the house. Says Brotato is life. Well, wow. I'd say that about Vampire Survivors at point, but man, Brotato, I like it. I do like it. It's just not that addicting to me, but it's good. It's very good. Who else we got in here? Scrolling up. You guys are doing your thing out here, making it hard. Biggity. Oh, 8 is in the house. What's going on, Biggity? What's going on? What? Oh, 8?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anonymous Boss is in the house. What's going on, Anonymous? We got Jesse B in here. Hi, people. Hi to you, sir. We got the one and only Nam Omar in the house. What's going on, Nam? Always great to see your name popping up in here. Let's see here. Who else? Nope. It's Timmy. It's Timmy's in the house. What's going on? It's Timmy. We got the Jay Lewis in the house as well. Thank you, Jay, for dropping on in here. Appreciate you. Who else? Spartan 661 is in the house. What's going on, Spartan? Magnum is in here. What's going on, Magnum? Always great to see you dropping by and saying hi. We got the Void Rat in the house. We got Nighturnal in here. We got Scorpio. What's going on? We got Tim the Sorcerer in here. What's going on, Tim? We got, of course, Calorie. What's going on, Calorie? Great to see you. We got the Ghost Fixer in the house. What's going on, Ghost? We got LeBurn 98 in here. What's going on, LeBurn? We got Jam Fortnite. What's going on? Maybe it's Jam Fortnite, but I'm gonna go with Jam Fortnite. What's going on, Jam? Great to see you in here. Who else? Who else dropped by tonight? Man, oh man, you guys are crazy in here. Bionic Wolf is in the house. Arthur 1 is stopping into the show. Of course, RSJ Fan 05 is here. Great to see you, my friend. Thank you. The beautiful Miss Caitlin, of course, is lurking in here as always. And again, shout out to her for the thumbnail and sharing us out. John Bon Zombie. Love it, man. Love it. John Bon Zombie is in the house. What is going down? Great to see you. We got Silver Lab Guy in here saying, yo to you. I'm Breezy's in here. What's going on, Breezy? Thank you for dropping into the show and being a part of it. Who else? We got Chrissia. I'm going to butcher this, so I apologize, but Chrissia Gilbo. Sorry. If I butchered it, I butchered it, but I'm trying. Chrissia, great to see you. Thank you for dropping in here so much. Astro Vader is in here as well. What's going on, Astro Vader? Thank you for dropping in and saying hi. Appreciate you. Got Def Leppard in the house. What's going on, Def Leppard? Always great to see you. Let's see. Ryart is in the house. Ryart, great to see you. Got Sanchez MTZ Gaming is always dropping by and saying hi. Thank you for being a part of our show. And General Spartan 27's here, of course. Thank you, sir, for being here. Who dropped into the bottom? You all drop in the bottom all the time. Eastside Vandal is in here. What's going on, Eastside Vandal? Of course, coming in with the Suicide Squad slander, because Eastside Vandal wants nothing to do with that game whatsoever. He always puts out the hashtag not my Joker. Shout out to you, Eastside. I love you, man. Thank you for being here. We got Shackrock in the house. We've got Bionic Wolf in here. What's going on, Bionic Wolf? We got Future Generations. Yo to you, Future Generations. We got BT Maverick in here, 707. Great to see you. Got Masshole 1977. What's going on, Masshole? We got Prince Green in here. What's going on? Talking about the Halo show, 7 out of 10 for me. Mav, have you watched the Halo show yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Probably tomorrow. Gonna finally dive into that. Excited because everybody's loving it. Jasper was like, it was really good.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Jasper.
Yeah,
said it was
Jasper said it
better
was
than
like,
just okay.
No, he was like, oh, that first, he's like, that Halo first episode, guys, that's some really good stuff, and like that's.
Oh, it sounds like when he came into Suicide Squad and goes, "Oh, it's getting good, guys,"
Yeah.
and we were like, "Jasper, is that you?"
It sounded like that version of Jasper, so I know it's gonna be great.
Very cool. I watched one of the action scenes today. Some dude was streaming it and broke it down, and definitely good. Definitely good. Good choreography.
Do you guys like that choreography in the new Halo show?
Choreography's off the charts, guys.
I heard Halo season 2 has some great choreography, way better than season 1. Yeah, I did watch Aquaman Lost Kingdom finally.
Did you?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comparatively to the other, I mean,
Mhm.
it felt like a
Mhm.
throwaway movie to me.
Sure, of course. They just had to get it out the
Yeah.
door. Yeah. Jay Gaming's here. What's going on, Jay? Jay says, I'm here, guys. Remember, Phil Spencer is going to come out next week and tell us the rumors are all wrong. Ponies keep port begging, hungry, unfed bitches. Well, well, we are definitely going to find out next week. We got some thoughts on it. Jahid is in the house as well. Snooky Jackson, I see you dropping in here. What's going on, Snooky? Whoop Whoop Kid is in the house. What's going on? Whoop Whoop Kid. I like saying it that way. I put $150 into one playthrough in Baldur's Gate 3 in going evil this time. Congratulations. That's a lot of time, and you're going back for seconds. Speaks high volumes of Baldur's Gate 3, which I agree with, even though I didn't do the first playthrough yet, but I'm 60 hours in. I got to get back to it. Boogeyman, boogie. Boogeyman's in the house. What's going on, Boogie? Who else is there? Nocturnal. I think I already got you. I think we're back. Oh, nope. KLZ 180. What's going on? Amit Kumar is in the house as well as always. Listen, y'all. Beautiful people, as Steele likes to say. Awesome to have all of you joining myself and Mav on PM in the PM tonight.
Did we get Say Hi FFF super chat earlier?
Yes,
okay.
I read that earlier.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah, I was
Chicken J. I see you, brother, coming in here. Silver Lab guy, I see you dropping in. Slip Space Games, I see you dropping in here. Sappho, what's going on? Oh my god, you guys always like to drop in here late. Love you all. E-Ranks, I see you. Oh, brother from another Fuzzy Belvedere, the man who's decided that podcasting is life. Fuzzy Belvedere, who is now everywhere, just like I used to be a long time ago. Fuzzy, shout out to you, brother. It's a lot of work.
It's on every show.
I think. He is out. It is every show. Yes. Man, let's get into it, bro.
Yeah. Let's get into this. So are we going into this? Like, are we going into it right now? And
we might as well might as well go into it.
I mean, I'm making my timestamp. Xbox Chaos.
Yes.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's do it, everybody. We have had a whole lot of conversations over the past 3 years on this channel and on all the other channels. We have discussed a whole lot of things in that time frame, including acquisitions, including criticism of all the major companies at play in this industry. We have had conversations praising everybody in this industry from time to time. We have had major moments of confusion. We have had major moments of questionable decisions. We have had everything from the best to the worst type of situations in this community and everything in between. These past 2 weeks, culminating into this week, has got to be the most tumultuous we have ever seen. And again, I don't go far enough back because I didn't start podcasting, didn't jump into this community until, like 3.5, 4 years ago. So I can't go back to the old days of Xbox One. I have no idea what Dirk Griggity and those guys experienced back then during that time, or what it was like. I can only imagine that the community was much smaller than it is now. So I'm sure there was still plenty of personalities. There was plenty of circus around that probably made things interesting. But I've never seen anything like this on this level. We've seen a lot. But not this. This was an extra special. And I say special in quotes because I don't know how else to say it. Oh boy, where to start? So obviously you guys all know we're not gonna dive. I mean, we're not gonna. Everybody knows the rumors. Everybody knows that it snowballed to the point where basically every game was rumored at one point or another to be coming out. We had all the influencers, we had the journalists, we had all the podcasters, all claiming to know stuff at one point or another, or backing up things that were already said. We had Jez out here saying that Xbox was going to become just a beta testing site for PlayStation. at one point during all of this. There wasn't a whole lot of people that were immune to it. There was plenty of people who said, chill out. Give a shout out to Jasper in the background. He was in our DMs, saying early on, chill out, whatever else the case. You didn't see me freaking out because I know better by now. I do know to hold my tongue until we get official word. But it was a highly emotionally charged situation, especially for the Xbox fans. Now, the circus took full advantage from the PlayStation side. The clowns showed up in force, as we all know they will anytime this happens. This was a little bit extra. We had Tim Dog holding 7-hour spaces overnight with Keeley showing up in them. Like, never seen anything like this. We've seen a lot, Mav, but I've never seen anything like this. And I've never seen it snowball out of control like I did as well. My brief thoughts on the entire thing and some of the stuff I was talking about behind in the DMs and talking about with the fam in party chat and stuff was that if this stuff is true, and yeah, we'll get into specifics about what I do think is true, what I don't, and same with Mav. But if any of this stuff is true, there was obviously a change in philosophy. I said there was too much smoke out there to this not to have at least been in discussion, not all of it per se, but certainly parts of it. If the original source is truthfully somebody within Xbox who thought that they needed to get this out to potentially prevent these things from happening, then it makes sense that it had gotten to a point internally where somebody felt like they had to take action to try to stop it because it had escalated to that point internally. Now, to Matt's point, and what we always talk about when we jump into speculation town is we'll never know. Unless there's a tell-all book, unless Phil goes off in the sunset in retirement, and on his deathbed, he writes his tell-all book about Xbox because the NDAs are finally up, we'll probably never know. Maybe somebody will anonymously write one. Maybe Schreier will get somebody or 2 or 3 people years down the road where he can take advantage of the situation and write about it. Maybe we'll get something, but we'll probably never know the truth. But man, oh man, what a week. Like I said, it feels like it's been weeks since we've been here just because of how much was going on. I will say this. I understand the part of the community that is highly emotionally charged. I put out a tweet saying that I've been through, the collapse of the video game industry multiple times. I've witnessed it. Always come back. But I watched the collapse of Sega. I watched Sega exit, I should say, the console business. Sega was the last time that I feel I was a real fanboy. Sega consoles, I played everything still at that point. But if social media had been around and we had this kind of atmosphere we do now back then, I could probably say I would have been on here being a Sega fanboy back then. But when Sega exited the console business with no fanfare because we didn't have social media, we didn't get to hear rumors. We didn't get to know anything up front. We didn't hear any nonsense. Just out of the blue, a big pile of shit was dropped on us, and we were told that Sega exited the console business and that your Dreamcast that you just purchased was not going to have games made for it anymore, that it wasn't going to be supported, that was the end of Sega's console run, and they were turning third party. So I understand because at that point, that was a gut punch. I was devastated when Sega left the console business. Devastated. It hurt almost personally, right? Because I had so long been invested in Sega. So I get the emotions. I do. Can I look at some of it now? Because that was the moment in time where I myself said, I'm never going to give my loyalty to a company in the video game industry like that ever again. I will have favorites. I certainly will have those that I invest in more than others, but I will never give my loyalty freely. I will never give my wallet freely. You have to earn me each and every generation from here on out. And that's how I've looked at video game ever since. But I felt even kind of sad as the rumors started to pile on, thinking about this. I felt kind of sad because I didn't want Xbox to leave the console market. I didn't want them to become a full-time third-party publisher, even though, overall as a gamer, would it impact me? Probably not unless I get rid of Game Pass, right? As a budget gamer, I'd still be buying their games. I'd still be playing them wherever they are. I'd make decisions, probably go PC full time right now. But would it overall impact me? No, but I still felt sad because the video game industry I love. I'm passionate about it. I want this video game industry to continue to grow. I want as many players in it as possible because I love competition. I want to see the competition. I want to see people push each other in this industry. So I get it. No East Side. I didn't tie up my girlfriend's family when Sega failed. No, I didn't. I didn't do that. I didn't do that at all. So I get that side of things, right? And obviously, I knew what the circus was going to do. I knew what they were going to claim victory over everything, and that all of them told everybody, and they were all right, and everybody else was wrong. And macroeconomics showed up and was truth. I knew what was going to happen, so I was kind of prepared for all that. But I was not prepared for the sustained effort here. I was not prepared for.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, that is so great. That is. That is so spot on. Man. Okay.
I was not ready for that level of vitriol to continue throughout the week and days as we went along, and for more and more stuff to continue to go on. At all. I could not handle what was happening. I had to shut it off at some point. And because I could not watch people breaking down, I could not watch the back and forths with the absolute extreme of both sides over and over and over and over again. Because I knew that we had not gotten any official word. I knew that some of this could be complete BS. Now, we still don't know. It might all be true. But I knew that until Xbox spoke, anything was going and everybody was trying to get that engagement. And they were trying to play off of everything. Again, when the gears came out and all that kind of stuff. So that was me personally during this week, kind of where I was at. I said, I was talking to DMs. If this is true, it does mean there's been a huge shift in philosophy. It means that everything that we talked about, Xbox is moving forward even faster than we thought. I said that I did have concerns for the digital library if they were going to move away from console space. I wanted to know how they were going to protect that if all this was going to go down. Mav, I know you've already covered this a ton this week. So I already know, you had a whole Mavcast where you came out and said, my God, people, let's calm down. Let's chill out. Let's not go off the deep end. And again, much respect to a lot of people who I absolutely love and enjoy in this community. Some people who welcomed me in first, some people who really, have made a good impression upon me were taking the extreme. And I know you felt that way, but now that it's somewhat settled down a little bit at this point on Thursday, and you kind of had your moments where you've been able to talk through it, just overall, was this week the most explosive week that we've ever experienced? I mean, ABK was obviously pretty close. Again, when that was announced and the talk afterwards, I remember the shows and the wild speculation about what was going to happen if they did acquire ABK. And there was, the circus was up in arms and everybody else, we were all talking about all the goodness that could come out of it. But for you, was this the most explosive week since you started podcasting?
Dude, it's this past, I guess, week in general, just because these rumors have been going on for a while. I think they even started early in January, and then they just kept kind of slowly piling on until it was a little over a week ago or around a week ago. It just really exploded into something else, right? And you've seen certain you've seen certain people come out with a rumor, then the next day that somebody else comes out with a even more egregious rumor, and then the next day somebody comes out with even a crazier rumor, and it's just piling on. And for a lot of people, because Xbox has stayed silent, it's become this reality, right? and like, and that's on
Yeah.
Xbox, but like it
Yep.
it
We're gonna
has
talk about that.
it has snowballed and accumulated into this massive shit show of paranoia and panic um about the craziest things. And maybe there's like, I think somewhere, probably honestly, the truth somewhere in the middle. But like, to
Mhm.
see this much from people that have been, the most surprising thing, right, is people that have been so committed, right, so all in on this, so fighting the battles online, trying to defend Xbox and all these different things over the years, trying to preach about, like, it's a great place to play, all these other things, and that it's the best place and it's the best ecosystem, and people that are just really, really all in on this, right?
Mhm.
All of a sudden,
Yeah.
have something happen that's a
Yep.
rumor, right? That makes them jump off all the way
Mhm.
to the worst possible case scenario,
Correct.
and to the extreme point of making it a reality in
Mhm.
in a lot of ways, when nothing has been said yet,
Mhm.
where that's been spreading online to where everybody's in this like alternate universe, I feel like, right now, because we don't really know anything, and like, so people are just assuming the worst, right? And there's been so much dramaticism, right,
Yeah.
about it, and
Yep.
a lot of, and gamers are passionate, right?
Yep.
We love our hobby.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why the console wars exist and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, people are super passionate about this and emotional, and that's why early on when I was looking at this, I was like, Xbox has to understand that, right? Like,
Right.
it's part of the,
Right.
like, you have to be able to control this message, because like, your greatest asset in this community that you've built that helps kind of promote your brand, right, can also be your downfall if you don't really respect it and treat it right, or really uh
Mhm.
have the proper messaging. And they've kind of let things get a little bit out of hand, but it's also made, kind of open my eyes up to like how fragile
Yes.
that relationship can be with
Yes.
people that seem so overly committed for years, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
overly committed to believe in something, it seems like, so much. And I know we're just talking about video games, but like, literally, a lot of the
Yeah.
people's, like, their entire identity has been, like,
Correct.
online, has been focused around this, right? To
Mhm.
where it is so fragile that
Yep.
all of a sudden, because of some rumors out there, that where Xbox hasn't cleared it up yet, and they believe these things are happening, but like, all it takes is a couple bad moves, and all of a sudden you're out,
Mhm.
right? That's opened my eyes a little bit,
Yep.
to why people play games, why people are in these arguments, and why they're in these, like, some of them doing the shows, or like, on Twitter, console warring, all this other kind of stuff. It's opened my eyes a little bit to the reality of why they are doing it,
Mhm.
as opposed to why I thought in the first place, right? Was because it's about the games and the enjoyment of the games and loving the ecosystem, right? Like, so like, I don't know, like, it's been really interesting. I think, like, I think that there's probably, like, again, there's probably some truth here, but at the
Mhm.
end of the day, nobody knows 100% the real stuff right now, right?
Right.
There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of rumors. Xbox has kept quiet, which adds validity to some of it, right? But we don't
Mhm.
know what's what. And my thing all along has kind of been like, let's we don't know right now. And because of all this, I think Xbox clearly trying to take their time to whatever they have to say, deliver it in the best way they can,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
maybe they have backpedaled on some things. And but the thing is, yeah, we'll never know that now.
No,
Like, we'll
we
never know
won't.
100% what they
No.
were going to do, or what they were going to say, or what the plans were, or maybe they weren't ever going to say anything except just announce something at some point, and never just expect everybody to be okay with it. I don't know, right? But it's interesting. It's extremely interesting. And it's also uh kind of I'm not gonna say I'm like disappointed in the community, but I feel like I have seen this side
Oh
to
yeah,
where
we talked about
the
yes.
the community can do damage to the brand that they supposedly love
Sure,
without realizing it, right?
sure.
Because you're advocating for things, you think you're cheering for things, or you think you're saying this, but then if all of a sudden the message, without any clear uh information from Xbox themselves, all of a sudden the message that you're spreading to everywhere, right, is that Xbox is no longer relevant.
Mhm,
Xbox is going to get out of the hardware space.
mhm,
Our digital libraries are unsafe, right?
mhm,
If that's all of a sudden the message that is being spread around
mhm.
like wildfire, right? And it's not just from Twitter. Like you can go like on YouTube and see like a million things, right? Even like our thumbnail is like joking about that. It's satire
Right,
about that aspect of like
right.
the end is here, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Like all of this, right, combines into this just aspect where we're looking at things and wanting things to be great, right? And that's why everybody has this emotion and is saying these things because we want to keep games off of PlayStation. We want to keep games off of Nintendo because we want Xbox to be great, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
And all of this action right here could have done more damage potentially to the brand without anything ever happening.
sure.
Or without, like, let's say they did do one game or something, right?
Mhm,
But this whole week or two of this stuff and the amount of information big media now covering all these other things
mhm, mhm.
is spread to a point where like Xbox is getting out of the hardware space, right? And
Right.
that's just all some people see, right?
Mhm.
Xbox is getting out of the hardware space. Xbox is uh everything's
Going
going
full third party.
multi-platform. The console's
Yep.
no longer be relevant, and that's just what people see. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's the reality we live in now. Like, we don't know that yet. You know what I mean? So
No.
like, I'm not gonna jump off to the worst possible case scenario
Right.
based on a couple of content creators that have spread some rumors, right?
Mhm.
Now, validity probably to some of them, right?
Yes, of
But
course.
that isn't that's such a far reach, bro. Like there's such a reach there. And I think it's just like pure paranoia, man. It is weird. I honestly, I guess the most best way I can put it is I've just seen chaos.
Mhm.
Like my stream the other day. It's just pure fucking
Yeah,
chaos. It is.
yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's everything, right? It's every single possible emotion you could ever get into one spot, right? It really is. It's a study in psychology.
Yeah,
Psychologists
100%.
would have a field day with this community and the things that happen here. But this storm this week had every single excuse me, every single possible emotion wrapped up in it. And it was all just feeding each other nonstop, no matter which way it was coming from. Again, I could not even listen to the spaces. I know a bunch of people listen to the spaces. I heard some clips from the spaces. It was, my God, what just a cacophony of sound and emotion. Like it didn't, half of it didn't even make sense when people were talking because they were so emotionally wrapped up in whatever it was that they were trying to point out. And nobody could agree. Everybody was disagreeing on all sides, and it didn't matter. It was all out just a battlefield, and it
Hmm.
was landmines everywhere. It was just no matter what you said, you were going to be wrong to somebody this week. Like it didn't matter how you wanted to approach the subject, it was going to be bad. Like it was just going to be bad. And like you said, Mav, we have seen bits of this in the community previously. You and I have been now podcasting long enough and talked about enough things that I said in the DMs, there's all sorts of little volcanoes that have been brewing underneath this community for a long time. And every once in a while we'd get
Yeah.
a little burst of activity. Some lava would come out. Like again, we saw it directly on our shows. We got, when we criticized Xbox in the past, we got accused of craziness, that we were anti-Xbox, that we were ponies, that we were all like nutso stuff. Like again, this emotion has been there. And again, like you said, it is passion. And we believe in the passion for the industry because both you and I are passionate about what we talk. Again, we don't do this because we just, I get we do this because we have a passion. You don't just hop on as many shows as we do and talk about video games all the time unless you have a certain degree of passion. We believe in that. We love that passion. We promote that passion about video games. But there is misguided passion. And there are people, like you said, that have, we talked about this too. I've talked about this when Steele and I, in our discussions about the community, there are people so wrapped up in their identity of one of these brands that they really have, their ego is a part of it now. And so what happens when you feel personally attacked by that brand that you've been defending, when you feel that you've been betrayed by people, again, Xbox in a lot of ways,
multi-trillion dollar corporation,
trillion dollar company. Yes.
Like they're there to make money. Let's just be real, right?
But Phil purposely created this passion in the community because he needed to, because he had to rebuild the Xbox brand. And so he put himself front and center in the community, talk to people in the community. I've seen people pulling receipts, Mav, from 2016 of Phil responding directly to not big time influencers, right? But to just random people on Twitter and answering their questions. Like he did that on purpose. He felt it was necessary to rebuild the brand.
That's when he came up, his checklist, right?
Yes.
That was the first thing, right?
Right.
Like build back the community and give the
community
and have them trust in the brand, right?
But it creates a sense, you blur the lines between consumer and business, right? You blur those lines, and it's a double-edged sword, as I have said many times. It can win you a lot of favor. It can build your community. It can make it stronger than ever before. Sometimes you even learn things from the community. You listen to the community as they have done in the past when there has been outrage, but that also sharpens the other side. And when people that are wrapped up in it, when people that you've talked to as more than just a consumer, when you've talked to them and, treated them like a friend. And again, I don't doubt that there are plenty of people who have friends within Xbox out in this community. But when you do that and business comes into play, as I've been saying for the past 3 weeks, and everybody already knows, nothing revolutionary. Businesses don't give a fuck about your feelings and never will. This is money, baby. They don't care at the end of the day. And when a business decision is made, it feels like a betrayal. It feels like a gut punch. And people who are so wrapped up into it that way really do feel like it's a personal attack. And the ego goes, holy shit, I've just been burned. They don't think of it, they just made a business decision. A $3 trillion company is maybe deciding to do something different. No. I've been burned personally by the people who I know over there. We're going scorched earth. Like, this is like no going back. Like, we are done. This is my friend, one of my good friends just killed my dog. And there's no forgiveness for this. I'm serious. Like, we can laugh because, those of us that take a step outside of it understand that how crazy that is when we're talking about video games. But again, I understand that feeling. If you're wrapped up, again, we see this. I hate this because we can go back. We could have a whole show about the sports analogy. We see this as sports fans.
Do you feel like it's also like the person's responsibility to know that, like, ultimately these are still companies? You know what I mean?
Of course. Like, personal responsibility is always. You can only control yourself. Like, you should know better, man.
Right.
You should know better. Right.
Yeah.
But again, when those lines are blurred, people will believe what they want to believe. And if that belief is something that they feed off of because they have created an online personality or identity around it, they are going to live in that world. They are going to go all in. And again, I don't want to get into all the psychology stuff about it, but this week, like you said, has shown how fragile that trust is. And some of that is the people themselves, like you just said, Math. Some of it's personal responsibility, like you
Yeah.
you led yourself down this path, believing that this billion-dollar corporation owned by a trillion-dollar corporation was going to be looking out for what you wanted all the time. That's not how business works. It never has, never will.
Yeah.
You should know that, but it's also on Xbox.
But
It's
what
also their responsibility for doing what they did too.
but
So, and
what's
not answering.
but what's
Yeah.
hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
a lot of the same people, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Are the ones that have started and created and spreading these rumors to begin with,
Sure.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So like when they're doing that, they're cultivating this environment that we've seen, right? It starts off innocent enough, you know what I mean? And then, right, even if there's truth to it and they want to see change, right? Even if it is a mole like within Microsoft, and like now Microsoft's trying to scramble and figure out what to do about this, right? Like this environment has been created to where like so much chaos has
Yep.
been spread around the internet
Mhm.
right now, right?
Yep.
That the message, even if it wasn't from Microsoft, the message has been delivered by the community, right? Because the community right now is accepting a lot of the community has accepted this as reality because they have more trust in the content creators and the people on social media that Xbox has propped up as well, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
these people have become the messengers of Xbox in a lot of ways, right?
Yes. Yes.
They've become the like um
Oh, we've been a part of this too, Math.
yeah, 100%,
We
100%.
were we were told not to do acquisition season. We were told to stop
Yeah,
talking.
that's true. Yes. That and not from
Yes.
Xbox, but from some
No.
like these same people, right? Like, and
Yes.
it's
Right.
it's interesting that you see like the people that have been kind of some of the bigger people in the community, really the biggest advocates for Xbox and all these things, and some of the ones that you would seem that has the biggest and best relationships with Xbox, right?
Mhm.
Have
Yeah.
been propped up kind of to be the messengers,
Of
right?
course. Yeah. Yeah.
And Xbox hasn't said anything yet, but maybe somebody's spreading them some information or whatever. But now this
Yeah.
message that is anti Xbox, right?
Right.
Largely, like regardless of like if it's to
Mhm.
hopefully enact change or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Has become this message because we don't have the actual answers,
Right.
right? So now we're just running away wild from the people that have kind of become the mouthpieces, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, so we've learned to trust all of these guys and learned to trust all these people about messages and stuff. Now, sometimes things are right, sometimes things are wrong. Often,
Yeah.
many things are wrong, right?
Absolutely.
But because they've developed the huge audiences, right, in the communities, and you can look at the Xbox podcast around there. Some of them have more viewers than a bunch of big games media, right, on their live streams and stuff like that. They have a lot of influence, right? So this
Mhm.
starts and spreads around from like one source to another source, and then all of a sudden it's like a reality. But like the brand itself hasn't even said anything,
Nope.
right? So
Nope.
yeah, maybe, and probably some truth to some of this stuff for sure. But
For
like
sure.
usually when companies are making changes or trying to do something or whatever, and whatever the reality ends up being, like they try and plan about how to strategize with these kind of things, right?
Mhm.
And lessen the impact of like something that some in the community may like not like, right? But that didn't get a chance to happen here. So uh really I think for Xbox, if they were even considering doing a couple of these things, right? If they were considering doing this, when they're having their meetings and talking about the okay, what was the bad side of doing this? What's the bad side of doing that? What's the bad side of doing this? What's the positives? What's the pluses? What's the minuses? Right. One of the biggest drawbacks they would have is obviously regarding the community and the reaction if they were to put games on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation and take exclusives away and then do timed exclusivity or whatever, right? That would be like, oh, like the community's gonna hate this and all that kind of stuff. Right. So that would have been a consideration, I would have assumed, by Xbox. But the worst case scenario for them in that situation has already happened now without them even saying anything. So it's like, well, shit. It doesn't even matter now because the shit's already hit the fan. Like for them, it's like they just had what they didn't want to have happen without them ever even saying anything. So it's I'm trying to look at it from a company's perspective here and trying to could possibly try and imagine what they're thinking and trying to strategize here. And it's like if it's like my worst case scenario about how the community react if we do something already happened, but we didn't do anything yet. So now what do we do? You know, it's a weird place to be because you're talking about some of the biggest Xbox fans out there, some of the biggest people that have been pushing the brand and really spreading the message. And I'm not saying any one of these people are like super important, right? But there's ripple effects that do have an effect with word of mouth and mind share and all this kind of stuff. If those people are all of a sudden saying, I'm done with it, no longer relevant, like all this kind of stuff, like that's the worst. That's really the worst case scenarios you could have for as far as your fan base feedback, right? But they haven't even said anything, so I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't know, but I do agree. Again, there is blame to be laid on all sides for
Yeah.
this, and for the length of this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this should be a wake up call for Microsoft and Xbox. They've had plenty of chances to have wake up calls, smaller ones, but this should definitely be a wake up call. First of all, realizing how fragile this community actually is. The fact that they have relied on a lot of propaganda through the years to carry them, and they've encouraged it in a lot of ways, which most companies, especially ones that are front facing with the communities, will do. And maybe they got too close. Maybe they've become, again, blurring those lines too much for too long. Again, as we stated, there's got to be some truth here. Otherwise, I think this would have been
Yeah,
squashed immediately.
for sure.
This would have been squashed immediately.
Yeah.
Like, again, this is a PR nightmare for any company to go through something like this, to have the community, like you said, spreading these things. And then on top of it, then all of a sudden the larger, wider mainstream media picks up on it. That means the word gets out to this isn't just in our bubble. This isn't in our crazy drama filled community anymore. This has gone way
Yeah.
outside.
I had a friend text
So,
me the other
yeah.
night that, you know what I mean? Like, he's an Xbox
Yeah.
gamer, you know, and I've known him for a long time. But he texted me the other night and he's like, man, I hope all this stuff, you know, it's like I just want to be able to play it on Xbox, you know, and all this. And I'm like, man, like, we just got to wait and see what's going to happen. Like, I've seen people posting pictures of burning Xboxes and selling them and stuff like that. Maybe they're fake. I don't know. But like, it's like, it's based on some rumors from like, and I know that podcasters get propped up and stuff because I know how I looked at some people before we started doing this and everything, as well and stuff. But like, at the end of the day, like, we're all just people, you know what I mean? Like the biggest Xbox content creators or the biggest content creators in general, like at the end of the day are still just people. And I'll tell you something, like, unless you're in the actual room and you're the ones making the decisions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody has all the answers.
No.
Even people that could be spreading messages and stuff like that may not have all the answers themselves because we don't know who that is.
Mhm.
Right? Like you could be and work with an organization and like hear things or not like the way things are going and start to spread stuff out, but you may not even know
Mhm.
what the final decisions are going to be. Like there's so much like that's unanswered right now and so much out there that we don't know that jumping off to the worst case scenario possible point and then calling that the reality of what's going to happen is such a far reach for anybody. And especially what's been so surprising for me is from people that supposedly love to play on the console. Like, and I can't comprehend myself personally, maybe because I'm not like emotionally like invested in that. Because
Sure.
like for me, my personal experience is what I care about the most, right? Like I'm
Yep.
just being honest. Like
Yep.
for me, like and when I look at it, I'm like I'm still going to play on my Xbox, and
Yep.
I'm still going to buy that games on my Xbox, and because that's what I like to do,
Mhm.
right? That's what I like. So,
Mhm.
something else happening is not gonna all of a sudden change what I like.
Yeah.
Like I just can't wrap my head around the change of just not liking something anymore because of something that doesn't 100% affect you itself, right? And
Right. Right.
it's so weird because that's the emotion of it is the damage. If nobody cared in the like at all, just generally like,
That'd be a bigger problem.
well, I mean,
That
hear me
would
out.
it would be.
If
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody cared though about like what games were exclusive on anything. Let's say that every game was no longer exclusive anywhere, right?
Sure. Sure.
Like like if nobody cared at all, right? About
Mhm.
about that. And it's
Mhm.
just like, okay, I just choose to play where I want because I like that experience better,
Yeah.
right? And that's all they cared about was the experience they're getting and not worried about what other people's experiences are, right? Or or like what other how is that going to happen because like ultimately your experience and everybody's experience should be the selling point,
Could be.
right?
Yeah.
In a
Yeah.
perfect world, that should be the
Sure.
selling point, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So if everybody only cared about, well, this is the best experience for me, and that's
Mhm.
why I do this, and that's why I'm going to buy one, that's why I'm going to tell other people to buy one. If everybody was like that, then none of this would really even matter,
Mhm.
right? Because if nobody would be selling their Xboxes and stuff because of this, right? I understand. I think because of all the other stuff though. Like again, like I said, I think it's a bad business decision from Xbox to do that if they do so, right?
Yes.
I think that
Mhm.
obviously, yes, emotions and everything like that move consoles, like exclusives
Mhm. Sure.
definitely move consoles. And I think Xbox thinks, I like we talked about before when Phil said that on that interview show, we think he's leaving money on the table and we think he's short selling the capabilities of what the
Mhm.
ecosystem can do for the console future, right? And like we're all both all 100% on that side that we think it's like a mistake to do that, right? But like I'm not going to go sell my Xbox because of it.
No.
Like it just doesn't compute to me to say that this thing now that I have is worthless, right?
Right. Right.
It doesn't make sense. But anyway.
Even as much as I got gut punched with Sega, I never said I hated Sega. I love Sega still to this day. Like I said, I understand the emotions behind it. I understand that
Yeah.
some people are going to have that extreme where it goes to hate or it goes to dislike or whatever you want to say, where they flip. But for me, like with Sega, as much as I was gut punched, as much as I was upset and disappointed, I still continue to be a Sega fan through and through. Like I've said before, if Sega ever decided to jump back in this console business, I might become a Sega console warrior. I might be out here being toxic against everybody else if Sega ever decided to do a Dreamcast too. That's how much I love Sega still to this day. So I never stopped liking them. I didn't like the decision. I thought it was terrible, all that shit. But I never went to the other side and just flipped on them and said, nope, I can't support them anymore. No, I was hoping that one day they would come back. So I agree with all of that. And I know and we've both agreed that business wise, from our perspective, I said I would be more Peter Moore than I would be Phil if I was in Phil's shoes. I would be out here competing. I hated Phil's comments. Phil, and a lot of the language that Xbox has used where you don't need a console has contributed to this point with them. And I've said that from the time. It's a nice thing to say. It's a nice vision to have. We all agree at some point all hardware will be obsolete, whether that's 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever the case may be. At some point, hardware will be obsolete. And it will be a subscription or ecosystem war, but we're all going to be digitally online through storefronts, period. That's our belief. So eventually that's going to happen. But Xbox, if they're moving in this direction, is the first one out the gate. Nintendo and PlayStation have shown no signs that they're moving that kind of direction. They're certainly expanding out. And obviously we see PlayStation expanding to PC and mobile and all that kind of stuff. Nintendo's in their own little world and will be the last one in all of this probably, unless maybe they decide to jump in, but I don't think they will, especially after this week because we got comments from them. But we understand all of that. We've talked about that, but right now there's still opportunity that is being left on the table, and your own messaging has kind of defeated the purpose because, in Phil's own words, we ain't ever winning the console.
Yeah.
We ain't ever win the console war. There is no world in which Starfield comes out as 11 and 10 and people sell their PS5s to move to Xbox, was his direct quote. So when you come in with it that way, you're kind of telling your community already. And I think that adds to what we saw this week, Mav, because there's already this underlying thought, even for the hardcore, even for the enthusiasts of Xbox, that underlying, when you hear quotes like that, you can deny them, you can spin them, you can do all sorts of things. But there is something subconsciously that gets to you that goes, maybe they are going to do this someday. Maybe they are just going to walk away from everything and become a third-party publisher like Sega. So that is already tickling the back of your mind, whether you know it or not. So then when a rumor hits like this, and then another rumor, and all of a sudden people are claiming, oh, this is true. This is happening. We've all heard the same thing. This is coming out. Like, this is a fact. Like, they are moving in this direction. Trigger. That's it. That's all it takes to light the fuse.
Yeah.
It's been building for a while. So,
I mean,
first of all,
one of these rumors too is that they've already kickstarted the next hardware,
correct, which we're going to talk about here because I want to speculate on this because I've heard we've had conversations about this in the past. A lot of our shows have. Things are kind of seeming like maybe they're kind of going in the direction that we kind of speculated on like last year, at the beginning of the year, if they were ever going to move in a new direction when we were talking about mid-gen refreshes versus, a new generation, what that would look. There's a lot to talk about there. So yeah, let's talk about that because we talked about the community stuff enough. I think, again, I understand it. I don't agree with it all. Obviously, there's a lot of over the topness, but at the end of the day, I do understand the emotions.
Once people start saying take games off of Game Pass day one, I know they've lost the plot.
We're going to talk about that because that's part of the speculation town. Yes, I know.
Like, I'm just, what are you doing? Don't say that. Like,
don't say that. Like, yeah.
You don't give them that idea. Like, if it weren't thinking it, and you're just like, hey, we're okay with this. You want to tell them that we're all okay with that? Like, by putting a poll out there and the actual percentage of people vote like for the come on, what affects you more as a consumer? I'm just saying, like, come on.
And again, people get this feeling too. I'm not against everybody speaking out when the rumors hit, and there was enough smoke to say something's going on. I have zero issue. You guys know this. You guys know from this channel, we will criticize. We have spoken out about other things that we've gotten word on or whatever the case may be. It is fine to speak out on this stuff. Again, there was enough smoke. This wasn't some random little reset era rumor, right? This was a lot of people saying they all got the same information, that it was kind of looking in that direction. It is fine to come out and criticize and say, I don't want this to happen. What are you doing, Xbox? None of that I have a problem with. It's the really over the top stuff that was out there on both sides. Again, the circus I already knew. The clowns were going to show up. I knew what they're going to run with. But again, the Xbox side going over the top. If you feel that strongly, I'm not going to tell you not to feel that strongly. Speak out, that's fine. But I'm just going to tell you, it looked like a little, like Mav said, you're going all the way to the worst possible case scenario without getting any real information in between. But if you want to speak out and say, I sure hope you're not going in this direction, Xbox, this ain't going to be good for you. If you're going to go in this direction, I'm going to have to rethink what I'm doing with Xbox and the ecosystem. You could certainly say that as a consumer.
Yeah.
You have every right as somebody who's going to spend money or not spend money to voice your opinion. So don't anybody think we're saying that you can't talk about this stuff or speak out on it. Absolutely, of course you can, even rumors. Because again, when they seem legit, there's something behind them most of the time. So
definitely,
anyways.
especially without the company coming out and squashing it, right?
Yeah, without that. I was gonna get to our stuff here.
Yeah, we got some super chats to get to.
First of all, though, we got a Mach 2.25 attention fun speculation hype train riders. That's right. This is one of your engineers. We just had a flyover from the one and only Dakado dropping in here. He just dropped us some extra coal. Got us up to Mach 2.25, so please make sure that your 4-point harnesses are fashioned tightly. The 5 bomb from Dakado. He came on the court with the layup. That's right. 5 more people got tickets to the hype train. We just added another car. Thank you very much, Dakado, for the continuous support, brother. Appreciate you. And again, that goes for everybody in here. Doesn't matter how you listen, where you listen, how long you listen for, whatever you do. If you consume any of our content, we appreciate every single minute of it because you're giving us your time. So thank you all for that. Takano, appreciate that 5 Bob, brother. Thank you. And of course, we got Michael Mooney coming in here with the 5 pound super chat. That's right, the 5 bomb from Michael Mooney. He says Microsoft shareholders have been anti-Xbox for a while. Hopefully, Phil and his team can find a path to keep the shareholders and consumers happy. We're going to talk a little bit about that speculation.
Well, that may be what they're trying to do.
Exactly what they're trying to do. Exactly what could be going on for sure.
Did we get the Spartan 661 $5 one earlier?
I don't think so. Hit that one up if I missed it.
It says, I can't believe so-called Xbox fans are believing in rumors. What are you guys thinking? This is a generation of clicks. Chill the fuck out. Xbox for life.
And there's a lot. Again, clickbait is real. There's a lot of people who obviously jumped on this to get that clickbait. Like I said, doing this for a long time, seeing a lot of rumors come and go and a lot of stuff, true and false, both happening. Sometimes you do have to look at the smoke and say, okay, there's too much. You don't have to believe everything. Like Mav was saying, like, obviously we don't know anything until they talk. But you can imagine that there's something going on to create this.
There is definitely something here, right?
Yes.
There's definitely something here, but we have no fucking clue what it is, right?
Yep.
There's obviously some kind of reason that they would even have a business update event, right?
Worst language ever.
Which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. They made a whole new kind of thing for this, right? And
it's so corporate. It's so bad, bro.
Oh, it is like whatever it is. I don't know if it's something they were already kind of like figuring out what, like some kind of idea, but like, I think whatever I don't think they were expecting to have to make some kind of like big message to the community. Right. Yeah. But like now they are, and they're including it in whatever this business update event thing is. Right. Hey, come check out the new BUE gaming showcase. Like, I don't know what is that? But
it's terrible.
Obviously, there's some reason to even have that instead of just being like, hey, guys, chill out. None of this stuff you're hearing is all just rumors or whatever. Obviously, there's there's definitely something there, right?
Yeah, there
But
is.
that doesn't mean that like every rumored thing that's out
No.
there like is happening, and it also doesn't mean that even if some of those things were even if some of those rumors were like
Mhm.
had some truth to them, you remember a
Mhm.
lot of the rumors were just using the words considering,
Right.
right? Companies consider a hell of a lot of things, and I've said this numerous times. Like we've seen, and via the leaked documents and all these kind of things, how many crazy things in the past that have been considered,
Mhm.
that have never come true, and some would have been bad, some would have been good. Like, but like sometimes considerations are never a reality. We don't know what the end result is going to be with a lot of this stuff. So like, and fortunately now we'll never know what was 100% going on, because if
Well,
they would have they 100% either changing the message or making sure the message is delivered in a way that's appropriate for the situation at or trying to, like, that's their goal, right? But they may have backpedaled on stuff. We don't know. Like they may have
slow things
to
down,
slow
like,
things down. They may just
yeah.
like
Yeah.
change how they're doing it, like delay
Mhm.
delay some of their ideas until later, or they may say, well, okay, this is bad. We can't do this, right? Who
Right.
knows, right?
Who
But
knows?
we'll never know. Like unless they
Yeah.
actually come out and say, well, everybody, we're going to be completely transparent here. You
Yep.
know, the money guys
Here's our
wanted to
meeting
do
notes.
this,
Here's
and
our
you know,
meeting notes.
they had one over at the last one, but we saw
Yeah.
you lose your shit. So, you know, we're like, hey guys, the community, they fucking called us out. We're just throwing that away. You guys win. Xbox for life. Everything's exclusive. In fact, we're gonna take Minecraft off of PlayStation just to fuck them over, just for you guys, right? Hey, we're
And we're buying Sega right
yeah. Oh,
now.
and
It's all
Sega, yeah,
exclusive.
and everything's exclusive. Game Pass Day One for life, baby, and we're dropping the price of Game Pass as well for you
Yeah.
guys. You know, just like we're just making everything right. We're sorry. You know, that's
Yeah.
not there's not it's not gonna happen.
No, no, it's not gonna happen. Alvin with the 5 bomb. That's right. Alvin got on the court with the layup. Bring Killer Instinct back and put it everywhere. Never getting on Sony owned Evo stage otherwise. Alvin, a lot of these things could be a consideration, like we just talked about. Again, business wise, we've said it all along. This is ultimately the ultimate goal. Eventually, everybody is a third party publisher, right? So, a lot of this stuff makes sense, especially with the games as a service and some other titles. It does make sense, right? Again, it's not what everyone wants to hear. It's not what I personally would do if I was trying to build my brand into world domination mode. But again, for the shareholders and numbers guys, it might make sense. Mav and I are going to speculate a little bit on this right now. In fact,
We got a 10
so
bomb from Decado.
whoa, where's the 10 bomb? Oh, Decado, I didn't see your yellow bomb pop up. That's right. Decado said we're not good enough at Mach 2.25. No, we're going to Mach 2.5. That's right. Actually, I'll give it Mach 2.75. I think there was just enough coal in that bag, Decado, to get us there. Mach 2.75. We are rolling on the Fun Speculation Network hype train, keeping this ad free for the year of 2024. No beans. No beans here. We ain't selling those coffee beans. Thanks to people like Decado with the 10 bomb. He says, I have well over 750 digital games for Xbox, and I'm not stressing. Would rather be gaming than yelling and teasing other humans like shit over something going on beyond my control. Decado,
Uh,
don't disagree with you, brother. Don't
um,
disagree with you.
then we had missed one from Alvin. Alvin hit us with a 5. Says
No?
also, you don't do a business
Oh,
event to
yeah.
discuss franchise exclusivity. Yeah. Uh, it's something far meatier. Hope they discuss future hardware. I
Cross your fingers.
yeah, but I at the I just want to say this real quick because like the number one thing I've seen, and I talked about this a little bit with Boom earlier, like the number one thing I've seen with this, like the discourse where people's like off the deep end fear is of like worst possible case scenario situations, right? Is like console hardware no longer existing, right? And so therefore the console players who like to play on console would no longer have access to their digital library, right? So those two
Right.
aspects, right? Xbox as a console manufacturer would cease to exist, and also, therefore, everything I've invested in would then I would cease to have access to it in the way that I want to, right? So with this business update event, whatever the fuck that is, again, that would be one of the most important messages to deliver, if
Mm,
possible.
if
Bec-
possible.
so anyway, like, because that's been what everybody's running around with. That's the
Mm,
fear that everybody's putting out there. Like, well, if it'll make Xbox less relevant, it'll make PlayStation even sell more, Xbox sell less. Why even own an Xbox? So that'll make people not buy Xboxes, which will then in turn make Xbox cease to exist as a console, or we may just get some other kind of piece of shit thing. And like, I want my library, or what's going to happen to my digital library. And people like Xbox and Microsoft doesn't want people to lose faith in buying in their storefront, right?
mm.
So
Yeah.
you need to have people have faith in that. So, which personally, I think like it's so far out there to not have faith in the Microsoft digital storefront. Like, if there's any like companies that out of all the companies that are out there, like,
Mm,
that you should feel a little bit more assured about with that stuff, it would be Microsoft, because of the whole ecosystem, the PC and all that stuff that they have behind it, right? But like, um, ultimately, they're not getting out of the hardware space. So
no, no, they're not. Luis Jose, we might get to that tonight. We'll see how long we go here. We might talk about that tomorrow night on Fun Speculation too. As far as the Disney Epic investment goes, I don't have a whole lot to say on it. It's big company chasing pots of gold again, to me. So, but we might get it a little bit to it because I know Mav will talk about it a little bit more as a Fortnite fan and what it means to have that kind of big investment and kind of this ongoing. Nobody wants to call it the metaverse anymore because that's a bad word, but that's really what they're still trying to create over there. Possibility they can.
yeah,
So they're heading that direction, but maybe we'll get to it. Maybe we'll save it for tomorrow night. All right, Mav. Let's talk about things that potentially could happen. Not the death of Xbox, because neither you nor I believe that's happening, no matter what. At the end of the day, the end of Xbox is not nigh. Okay. In fact, it's getting bigger. It's just a different
yeah,
perspective at the end of what we've seen from a console maker, from a hardware maker, and first party studio content creator this is getting bigger now, and we're in big business land. We are in mobile, we are in PC, we are in a lot of different places, along with Game Pass, which is obviously a big piece of what happened to keep Xbox relevant to this day. Uh, Without Game Pass, don't think Xbox would be here. That's what Phil used to sell a lot to Satya. So, but this is fascinating to me. I've said that from the beginning. This goes to early discussions we had, Mav, when this gen started, or right before this gen started. And we talked about kind of the moves. It was right after the ZeniMax acquisition. And we thought that Xbox was coming to compete one for one with Sony. And they were going to try to grab mindshare back. And I believe that time it was the case. Even if that shifted at this point, I think they did expect to try to compete one for one.
2022
Yes.
fucked them, because they had coming up from
Yes.
2021, they
Yes.
had a lot of momentum at the
They
time.
did. That hype train was
Yeah,
rolling,
it,
baby.
it was big time. You had acquisitions, you had games coming out. When Halo Infinite actually launched, it launched a pretty positive feedback and stuff, right? As
Correct.
well. You had
Yeah.
Forza Horizon that had just come out as well, which was like doing great. And you had a bunch of games media kind of turning the corner, right, on Xbox, and
Positive
started writing
articles.
positive articles, all this stuff. And then 2022 happened, and it was just
Yep.
not a
Sucked.
lot there. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
and then they didn't get credit for 2023.
Nope.
Like it,
None.
like if fucking
None.
2023 was amazing, nobody's giving them credit for it, man. I'm like, what the hell,
A lot of
But
that was ABK deal. So,
yeah, I probably
but
so, yeah,
What we talked about though, Mav, during that time frame was no matter what, this generation and with Microsoft backing Xbox, right? All in, Satya all in, that this generation was going to start to define the future of the video game industry in a lot of ways. We had multiple conversations, shows about that, about how we thought we were going to see a lot of change in this industry during this time. Not that we were going out on a limb with a lot of this stuff, but I will say we had some really early discussions before other people started talking about how important this generation was. Phil talks about last generation was the worst generation to lose because of the digital library situation, all that kind of stuff. But we said this was the start of a transformative period in video games because of tech, because of the digital age, because of where things were moving. And with Microsoft being involved, the parent company coming in with their big bank to shift things in different directions and them leading the way in a new kind of creating their own path, that's never been traveled before with Game Pass and that kind of stuff, at least in the video game industry, that we saw this kind of shaping. And so let's look at this, Mav. If we do believe that some of this stuff is true, right? But you and I both believe that there is no death of Xbox here, that they are, in fact, going to have new hardware, whether they announce it next week or not, that they are prepping new hardware, potentially for the early launch. That, again, we kind of had discussions before everybody else was about whether or not they could pull that off. There is some fun topics to get in here. So let's start here, Matt. Let's start with the hardware, because you and I both believe it's happening. Again, we don't believe the people that say they're never going to make hardware again. It's the end of it, and they're going full third party. So the hardware, we've been getting a little bit more clarification. I've heard a lot of people starting to pick up on some stuff that we dropped early, that other people on other shows had hinted at as well, of what we thought the future hardware for Xbox could look like, knowing the direction that they were kind of going in and what that could be. Now, again, I think things have been accelerated due to the ABK acquisition. Satya and Phil both described it as an accelerant. That obviously has pushed them in a new kind of a, not necessarily a new direction, but ahead of their time frame that they had maybe originally planned for some of this stuff. So they're not winning the console war, according to Phil. You don't need Xbox. You don't need an Xbox to play in the Xbox ecosystem. That's been trumpeted. So what are they going to do? Because if they're going to move forward, Mav, and they're no longer going to think of the console space in the traditional sense, right? We know kind of their rough plans about reaching 2 billion, 3 billion people. We know there's a mobile sector. We know they got to strengthen their PC side. We know that obviously there's still a market for console and console players, even if it's not as big as Nintendo or even if it's not as big as PlayStation. There's still value as an access point for people who love the convenience of consoles and having a box connected to their TV. We know there's cloud involved here. We started talking about this, Mav, that maybe, right, instead of mid-gen refreshes, maybe there's an upgrade path eventually, more like cell phones. We've talked about that previously. But now we're starting to hear, Mav, that there's potentially 2 SKUs, right? One of them being a handheld, and then one of them being a more traditional box. I think there's probably 3 SKUs, because I'm going to say that Keystone is moving forward. If you guys remember the puck, Phil had it on his shelf. You guys remember that he admitted it was working. It was a working prototype, but he said it wasn't the right time. So I think there's potentially going to be 3 SKUs here: a handheld, a box, and a puck, whatever you want to call it, streaming device. They got to make this compelling, because if they're not going to go after the traditional console market, if you are going to potentially start publishing certain games on other devices, but you're going to keep some exclusive, you want to come in with something different from everybody else. Otherwise, you're just fighting the same battle over and over again. And we already know the definition of insanity is trying to do the same thing and thinking that you're going to get a different outcome. But they have an opportunity here, Matt, to start with a fresh, clean slate, because they're moving in forward with their vision of what the future of video games looks like. And We both believe it's all digital at some point, but to get there, tech's going to have to catch up. But in the meantime, it's about accessibility. And I think you agree with this, Matt. It's about accessibility. Xbox and Microsoft have been building an ecosystem that promotes accessibility, right? Cross progression wherever you're playing at. They now have a very good chance of competing in the mobile side of things if they do it right because of ABK and some of their other acquisitions have brought a lot of mobile to them, especially Call of Duty Warzone, which we know is going to be massive. 2 million pre-signups or whatever the heck it was. They have the chance here to create a full-bodied ecosystem across all devices, PC, mobile, console, cloud, all of it, in which all of your games potentially work, no matter what type of game they are, no matter what type of hardware that they were created on. They've been moving in this direction, I think, quite clearly. Could we see an early launch, Mav, of a box specifically that has the hybrid to it, ARM, cloud, traditional, but is more PC-like, but has access to all these different variations of games, so that if you have a mobile game and you want to play it on your box when you get home on your TV, you can do that. You buy a PC game. Oh, suddenly that box runs like a PC, maybe has a limited Windows UI in it, or OS, I should say, which allows you to run a PC game. Hook up your keyboard and mouse flawlessly. Use controller if that game supports it. But it doesn't matter that you bought it on the Windows Store. Doesn't matter that you bought it on Steam. You can play it. And then have a handheld device that functions the same way. If you only want to own the handheld device like a Steam Deck, you can dock it just like a Switch or a Steam Deck and you could play on your big screen. But if you own the box, that handheld just becomes an extension of all of your other access points. And you all of a sudden got to go to the bathroom. You just pick up your handheld, push a button, your game is now playing on your handheld seamlessly from your TV, and you just go to the bathroom and play it there. What do you think is the future, man? I kind of laid out my whole theory there, but what do you think is the future?
Yeah, I've been talking about this a little bit recently on some other shows and stuff too, because like my wheels have started gotten spinning more and more about this kind of stuff, right? And I think Steam really cracked the code of what a potential future could be, right? They've taken the PC core of what the flexibility of PC gaming is, right? But they've put it in a console user-friendly experience format, right? That's dedicated to gaming with the Steam, with the device built around it with the Steam Deck, right? So like to make your reality and what I've kind of been talking about recently on some other shows like true is like it comes down to the OS, right? Because you'd be really kind of running like a version of Windows, right? But it would be like a very streamlined version dedicated for gaming and and some entertainment applications and stuff like that, right? And it would be that would be the core focus on it. So when you turn it on, that's what you would see. It'd be kind of like an Xbox UI type situation, right? But the difference would be because it would be more PC like, it would just depend on the device that you're using would determine the performance and quality of the games, as opposed to having two SKUs that you hardcore set specifically and only develop specifically for those SKUs. You'd be more of like PCs where it's like, you know, on this device it's capable of that. Like that's what a Steam Deck does. Like that, the PC can play all those games. If you have a high-end PC, it's a little bit better than the Steam Deck. But if you're playing on the Steam Deck, you're super happy with it. But like, so if in that world that you're talking about, Pong, like I would personally love that because you have a lot more flexibility. You have that ecosystem is a lot more flexible, right? To where all those games are everywhere, really, and natively as well. That's a key part for me. I would like just not necessarily everything can be native, but like almost everything native, right?
Almost, yeah.
And then because of this, like I think the branching off part from that is
Mhm.
let other manufacturers
Okay.
have access to your OS that you've developed
Sure.
for this and your
Mhm.
ecosystem, because like we already see this kind of with like the ROG Ally. It's using
Mhm.
Windows, right? So
Mhm.
like it's pretty much that, except it's not a streamlined core dedicated version for video games. Like, it is a little
Right.
bit. They've done some things there, but like if they really got that right,
Yeah.
that then all of a sudden you could have like you could have your portable Xbox, you could have your uh dedicated Microsoft Xbox that they sell like to the core fan base and stuff like that. But then let's say that like, oh, Asus wants to make one that uses this for the TV as well, a
Mhm.
dedicated high end machine that's like super powerful, like a PC almost, but is running like this, right? For the hardcore enthusiasts, right? Because their goal for those manufacturers is selling hardware for profit, right? Like
Correct.
selling the
Correct.
hardware is their profit. They're not making money off the storefronts. Microsoft's making the money on the storefronts, right?
Right.
So it'd be
Right.
in Microsoft's best interest, right, to have as many different devices out there possible with access to your
Sure.
storefront, right?
Sure.
That's why I
Yeah.
don't think this whole thing about losing faith in your storefront. They want as many people to use their storefront as possible. Yeah.
Right.
So that would be an ideal future for me because, like, I'll tell you right now, if Steam,
Mhm.
like Steam Deck 2 or whatever comes out, or if they even have even a more powerful one with that core dedicated thing where it's just built around gaming, like that would be fucking an amazing device to own for me. I don't even know how much I would be willing to pay for it. Like, because if I could take that and put it on a TV and I have access to all the Steam games, I have access to Xbox games, and I have access to PlayStation games, and also the deals you get on Steam and all that kind of stuff. Like you're talking about a pretty powerful like option there in that console space, right? At that point, it depends on the controller. There's a lot of other factors too, right? All the other things you can do with it, as well. But like, Xbox has the potential, if I were them, that's kind of what I would do,
Yep.
But they got to get it right. That's the core
Oh,
thing. Yeah,
obviously.
and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
haven't gotten it right on the PC side with their storefronts and the
Mhm.
applications a lot. I mean, they're pretty good, you know what I mean? But like,
There's
it's
a lot
not
of
a
work to be done.
preferred place
No.
to launch your games and all that kind of stuff. So if they really did it, and we got to look at some of the things that have been going on. What happened after ABK? Like Windows and Surface are all part of that
Mhm.
umbrella now, right? Under Phil Spencer. Um, so you never know, man. It'd be interesting. I as a consumer, I want as many options as possible,
Yeah.
right? Like if I want to go crazy and spend a crap ton of money on a console for the most powerful performance and graphics, I want to be able to have that option.
Mhm.
And if I'm like more budget and I'm trying
Mhm.
to like have something that's more like, well, like a Series S type thing where it's like more for like, okay, well, like I don't play a lot of games or whatever, or like I'm just looking for something to access my games. I'm not picky about fidelity or all that kind of stuff, right? But like an option like that too, right? But
Mhm.
if you get that core component down where it's more PC like at the back end of how to run the games, then that checks a lot of those boxes, right? And Steam
Right.
has done that with a Steam
Mhm.
Deck.
Right.
So
Agreed.
if they can do it, why can't Microsoft?
Right. And I just think it has to be compelling. It has to go in a new direction if you're going to embrace what you're doing. I really think they gotta embrace it, and like I said, they have a chance with a clean slate with no expectations at this point. I mean, there's people out here claiming that they're ever gonna make another piece of hardware again, for God's sakes, and I know it's a small
Yeah,
minority, but what I'm saying is that the mentality out here, and even from Microsoft themselves or Xbox themselves, is that we're not winning this console war, like I said previously, so why not just go in a whole brand new direction? And it's not gonna be cheap. Again, this isn't gonna be a cheap option. Like Mav said, you could have even more premium experiences. And this is not going to be the first time that a company would have tried to make a dedicated gaming PC like machine. We've seen this tried in the past before, some of them costing a lot. So this isn't going to be a cheap machine, but this is going to be for the enthusiasts. This is going to be for those Xbox fans, right? That want that experience, but they open it up so that your access to the library of games available is not just about the console games. It's about every type of game that you potentially could purchase down the road,
Yeah.
because they're going to have a storefront for all of those places.
Yeah.
And if they allow, you know what I'm saying? They're going to
Mhm.
have those storefronts to supply those games. And again, if you don't have to have necessarily, oh, I'm going to play on my cell phone because this game is mobile, but I really wish I could play this on my big screen. Oh shit. Well, I don't have. No, we've got a device for you. Oh, I want to play this PC game, but I don't want to fire up my PC tonight. It's not as convenient. I just want to play. I just want to pop in the. Yeah, you can do that on this box as well. If they can figure that stuff out and include all the technology that they've been working on by cloud, by AI, all of this stuff into that, that is a compelling reason for me, even as a PC owner, a higher end PC owner, to continue to invest in hardware, because I do love the convenience of consoles. And if you could put that into a do it all box that doesn't do all the extra stuff that PC does, it's a dedicated gaming machine at the end of the day, I will love you for that.
Yeah.
That will be awesome. And I think that they really have a chance here to do it. And I think that's what they might be moving towards.
Yeah, that would be amazing, man.
It
And
would be.
like at the end of the day, the core, like what is the Xbox to Microsoft? What is the console to Microsoft? It's a device geared towards specific kinds of gamers to buy shit inside of that's they're selling within the store, within that access point, right? The device is an access point to the storefront and the ecosystem, right? And like that's what the consoles are. And the right now the developers have to make the game specifically like core dedicated to those devices, right? You kind of take the shackles off a little bit, free developers up a little bit as well, because as a consumer, then it's up to you how you want your games to run, right? Not and obviously the developers still have the responsibility to optimize their games, right?
Of course,
but like
of course.
if you want like a PC, if you want the most power, you're going to get the more expensive machine, right? That's kind of what their thinking was like with the Series S and the Series X,
Correct.
Like if you want the higher end experience, you get the Series X. If you want the more budget friendly experience, you go with the Series S, right? But if they open that up and really kind of like, and we kind of talked about this a long time ago, Pong, when it's talking about like my ideas for what I thought like the future of console space would be. It'd be more like consoles coming out more frequently and stuff, and like
maybe upgradable, and modular.
And I think eventually what the consoles are is it's more just for the enthusiasts that prefer to play on console. It's not necessarily even the primary thing, because you're going to have cloud gaming is going to even be better at that point. You're going to have all these other handheld devices. You're going to have Steam is going to keep making innovations as well. You're going to have all these other things out there, right? So like the console space that has been kind of capped for a long time, as these young kids that are growing up on all these other devices and all that kind of stuff, like, is going to either stay somewhat the same or shrink, right? And so who at that point, like what are the companies, who do they make the console? I don't think they're willing to take losses on all that hardware anymore, right?
No,
because there's so many other people playing the games and stuff like that. It's just the enthusiasts, because we're the consumers that spend the most money in the ecosystem, right? They're going to continue to want to make a device for us, and they will give us options for that, I hope, right? And that's the best I could hope for. But like ultimately, there may be different things we've ever seen before. I think more so than anything, I think they're going to try and be more creative than they've ever been before.
Correct.
Right? Like, which is interesting to me. like it doesn't necessarily always mean the best, you know?
No,
So we'll see. Like Nintendo was really creative with their last thing that they did, and it really worked out well for them, right?
but the
Coming
Wii
off the
U didn't.
but the Wii
Yeah,
U didn't. And that was creative too,
right,
right?
right.
So
It was.
you're gonna have misses and you're gonna have hits. Um, we'll see with what Xbox does next, how successful it is. But I think that's something that they're probably been trying to really, really figure out, right? Because I think the console is a core part of Xbox, but it's not the only part of Xbox. But like it's a part of Xbox that they need to get right because the people that spend the most money are those players, right? So for them, it's still an important thing, and it's going to be. No
Mhm.
matter, like I have
I,
ultimate faith in that.
I just think they want to make it again. Everything that they've been working on for this entire time, man. All the investments that they've made when it comes to the ecosystem and being able to play where you want, when you want, how you want,
Yeah,
right? Xbox everywhere, right? All that investment leads me to believe that Microsoft is they've tried lots of things in the past. They've sunk tons of R&D into projects that never came to fruition, but then we see them later from other companies. Apple Vision is the latest example of that, right? They have the ability to do this. They have the ability, and I think that they're looking at those stats, Mav. I think that they're looking at the generations coming up, like we've talked about, and how these generations are gaming, and that you still have us, right, that are really, in a prime position in our lives. A lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us, I'm a budget gamer, but a lot of us have expendable cash that the younger generations don't have yet. Those generations eventually will be there, but they have to account for us. They have to account for our part, even if we're more traditional. But then they have to look at those generations coming up. And, I think that they want to create an ecosystem that is going to absorb everybody, as many people as possible, no matter how those people like to play, and make it as, again, I'll say it time and time again, seamless as possible. So that if a kid walks into his house playing on his tablet or playing on his phone and he sits down on the damn couch, it is literally one button to put that game on his TV and pick up right where he left off without any thought. Because that would introduce a whole new audience to the TV playing, which a lot of kids nowadays like smaller screens. But if it's that easy for them, maybe they start playing on the TV. But at the end of the day, no matter what, by giving people those options, you keep your engagement up. We just saw PlayStation do a ton of R&D, come out with the PlayStation Portal, which a lot of people say is worthless, but their whole point, they came out and said it publicly, was to increase engagement. Why? Because they didn't want people pausing their game and going and doing whatever they needed to do, or shutting off their console while their kids want to watch a TV show. They wanted them to seamlessly be able to pick up that PlayStation Portal and keep playing, because engagement means more dollars at the end of the day. Time and time again, that's been proven. And I think Xbox is going for the ultimate version of this. So that, again, if I got comfortable enough, I could be hitting Mav up. We could be playing Suicide Squad. I could be playing on my phone as I'm messing around in the house. We could play Suicide Squad. And I just walk down to my couch and I'm like, all right. And I flip it. And there it is on my TV. I pick up my controller and I'm playing with Mav right from where we were. Like, that is the ultimate kind of goal for these. And it doesn't matter what type of game it is. That's what I see
yeah,
them going for, whether I'm right or wrong. So, anyways.
yeah. And man, if we if
Yeah.
people think that a lot of the stuff it's crazy thoughts. Like think
Yeah.
about the way the console space and gaming was 10 years ago,
Mhm.
and think about the shit you can do today, right?
Right.
And think about
Right.
next 10 years and what the possibilities are going to be. We have no
Yep.
fucking clue what it's going to
Ooh.
be like, because we never could imagined 10 years ago all the stuff that we're doing today with games,
Nope.
like
Nope.
at all. The way we can access them from all these different ways, and gaming subscriptions, and like
Yeah.
the cloud and console streaming, and like
And
the
phones playing
quality.
full AAA games. Like,
Yeah,
really never.
we never would have guessed, and that's just
No.
10 years ago. And when
Right.
people like talk about like the stuff about but eventually they're gonna like that's one of the things with this whole rumors and stuff that's been going on is like but eventually yeah, I think Xbox only goes for like two more generations or whatever, then they'll start making hardware. Like that's the worst, like that's the end is nigh thing, right? Like we don't know at all anything that's going to be like in 10 years. Like consoles may cease to exist, period, like in the future because of the technology that comes out. Like there's so it's so far like out there. Like I mean, even like last, how many times have we all said this might be the last generation of consoles? You know what I mean? Like before any of these rumors came out, like we thought there may be one more generation, maybe two, right, of like actual consoles. But like I think it was going to be devices, lots of different devices, but our ideas of like a general like what a gaming console is, a traditional thing about it, in the future, I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to evolve past that for sure. You're on mute, Pong.
Said, of course, everything moves on, man. Again, tech's going to continue to push forward, and we're going to be doing things like you said that we never thought of before.
Yeah.
And like that's why I said I never, as much as I don't want to play VR right now, I have zero interest in the VR space. I said I've never been that guy. I've seen too much change in my lifetime to say that VR could not
You
potentially
see
be the
videos
future.
of people walking around with the Vision
With
Pros
the
on
AR,
their heads
yeah,
and
with the
stuff.
Vision Pros, yeah,
Fucking
yeah, yeah.
crazy, man. Like
It.
it's,
Well, how long? Off topic, but how long before we start hearing about thefts of that shit off the streets? I can't believe people riding the subway in New York City with that shit on.
yeah,
$4,000, bro. Rip
yeah.
it off somebody's head. Come on.
You just fucking
But people are crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, it is. But we could get to a point where it is, we have smaller glasses that do this. Again, that's what Microsoft was going for,
mm-hmm.
right? That's what they were going for in the AR space. Again, that's what I was talking about. They gave up on it, right? We don't know why. The government canceled their contract. Next thing we knew, they were shutting down, right? But here's Apple Vision doing the same damn shit that Microsoft started doing 10 years ago in AR space, right? Or more, longer. That's the vision they had. They just didn't follow all the way through with it. They shut it down for God knows what reasons at this point. But yeah, who knows what's going to be, Matt? Who knows? We could just all be wearing regular sunglasses that have AR completely in them that we could do everything from.
I'll tell you one thing. Whatever we learn at this business update event coming up here next week isn't going to be the determining factor on the future of console hardware.
No,
Maybe
not at all.
Like maybe potentially one piece of Xbox's future. That would be great, but there's a lot going on in the industry, and
yeah. And again, Sony's going to eventually do more and more. They just saw huge success with Helldivers 2 launching day one on PC. It became number one over Palworld for the most purchased game. Like they're going to push day one PC. They're playing catch up right now. Again, Nintendo is the only one that is the wild card that you have no idea what they're going to do because they are very comfortable with where they're at. They reiterated it this week again. They believe in hardware. They believe in exclusives. They are old school as old school goes because it works for what they do and their business model. It works. So how long they hold on to that before they break out and do something different, I don't know. But again, Sony's going to follow Xbox as much as they possibly can. They don't have the backing, they don't have the resources, but they are headed in that direction because they know the future is upon them and it's happening whether they like it or not. And the AAA space is not as sustainable as people would love it to be. And they've got to do other things to make revenue. They have to. So
one of the most exciting things though, Pong, like even maybe some wouldn't like to hear this, I don't know, but like I don't know why anybody would have a problem with this, but like there's people it came out like other companies are starting to like really take notice, like that weren't really involved with gaming, right? Like Disney, right? Well, they were a little bit, but
but not to this degree, right?
So you have big companies and corporations that really weren't like too interested in gaming. They're because more focused on TV or movies and all that kind of stuff, and they've noticed like the younger generations, right? Primary form of entertainment is gaming, right? So like you're seeing a lot, and I think we're going to see more and more companies invest in gaming and get into the gaming space, and we've seen
Mhm.
before, which ultimately is a good thing because you have more competition, you have more creativity, you have more investment into the hobby, and that always leads to potentially new things as well. So it's tough to say, man, like what the future is going to hold, but I like our predictions and the
I do too.
potential
I like our speculation. Yes.
for the potential for what future hardware could be. Like,
Hmm. I think it'd be cool as hell.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
There's
There
no
was a
reason
study
that
that
that's no reason that couldn't happen. Like, it's
no,
completely feasible.
it's completely feasible. Even at this stage, it is, especially if Microsoft is forward thinking right now because they're accelerating all their vision. That makes it more possible that they'd be willing to sink the R&D and get it right, or break into that space more so, because again, there's no stopping this. Once they invested $70 billion in ABK, we knew that things were going to change on how they're going to approach. Now, not necessarily the ways that have been talked about per se this generation, but we knew that the eventuality was they were going to start moving
Yeah.
on their own path. They really were. There was just a study to come out to back up what Mav was saying. New study came out today that was posted. I had posted in our DMs, going through the different generations and how they enjoy their content and what content they enjoy. And it's really no shocking. They started with they got Boomers, Generation X, Millennials, and Gen Z in this study. And this was the study that a lot of people believe that obviously Disney took notice of when they made this $1.5 billion investment with Epic, that Luis Jose was talking about. But real quick, Boomers, 3% play video games, 11% listen to music. This is how their favorite entertainment activity. That was the basis of this. 3% play video games, 11% listen to music, 12% browse the internet, 2% engage in platforms on social platforms, and 39% watch TV shows or movies at home. Makes sense for boomers. Gen X, 10% video games, 8% music, 10% internet, 5% social platforms, 29% TVs and movies. Millennials, 16% video games. As you can see, this is trending up on the video games and trending down on the TV movies, right? This is where we're getting at. 13% listen to music, 11% browse the internet, 7% engage in social platforms, 18% watch TVs or movies. And then finally get to Gen Z. 26% play video games, 14% listen to music, 12% browse the internet, 11% engage social platforms, 10% voted for watching TVs or movies at home as their favorite form of entertainment. 10%.
Yeah.
What's funny to me is that I'm trending with the Gen Z as I get older. I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I used to be, obviously video games always, right? Video
Yeah.
games, but I used to watch a ton of TVs and movies. But as I get older, I'm less and less inclined to watch TVs and movies at home and more inclined to play more video games, right? So I'm trending that way.
Yeah. I'm
But
I'm
that's kind of
kind
what
of
Matt was thinking about.
I'm still
Yeah.
kind of split.
Yeah.
I'm an entertainment fucking junkie, bro.
Right.
Like I if I could say that's one thing, it's like it's a curse a little bit, like I can't help it. But whether it's video games, movies, TV shows, or sports, I constantly have to be consuming something. And if
Yeah.
I'm like on my phone browsing stuff or whatever, it's about those things,
Right.
right? It's just
Right.
I honestly like live my life around useless entertainment shit that really has no real value except for my personal enjoyment. And I don't give a fuck. I fucking love it. And I hope that's the way I live until I'm 100 years old and I can't see or hear shit anymore, man. I'll be asking people, what's happening right now? Who's winning the Cowboys game? What's the newest game that's coming out? Are you excited about it? Like, I fucking live for this shit, dude. The movies, TV shows, video games, and sports, and it's fucking it makes me happy. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I would
Like,
pick. I mean, I would pick video games. I think
yeah.
obviously, right? So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe we're
You
maybe
had to
we're
choose one.
maybe we're
Yeah.
Gen Zers, bro.
I don't know. And again, I'm a mix of all these because I love music. I love browsing the internet. I obviously
Yeah,
engage on social platforms. Like I've got, and I still do watch some TV and movies from time to time, just not as much in sports, whatever the case may be. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think that Gen X certainly became a massive consuming generation. Like we were hit with so much advertising at our age. Like we grew up and we grew up without the internet and then we grew up with the internet for Gen X that we were hit from all sides. So it makes sense, man, why we were into it. And sports were massive and all that kind of stuff. And that's how we grew up. And we just kind of video games were always there for us and we grew up in that. Like it's just crazy. It's just crazy to see how the generations change. But Gen Z, they got their own thing, but they definitely enjoy video games. That is for damn sure. Gen Z is full on video games all the time.
yeah.
Now, smaller game or
What
Fortnite.
what age group is Gen Z?
Gen Z is going to be, well, let's just pull it up real quick because and again, it depends where you look
Because
this up to because they break this up differently
they
for everybody.
change it all the fucking time. All these things
They do.
didn't used to exist.
And there's
Like,
in between ones now where
yeah,
half
like
and half. Gen Z is let's see, starting birth year. Let's see, colloquially known as Zoomers, a demographic cohort succeeding millennials and preceding generation Alpha. Researchers and popular media use the mid to late 90s as the starting birth years and the early 2010s as the ending years. So they were
okay.
like the 95, 96 and up to 2000, like 11, 12, somewhere in that neighborhood.
The thing that pissed me off, man, and I'll never get over this, right? I grew up as a Gen Xer,
Mhm.
right? I grew
Yep.
up thinking, living my life as like I'm part of Gen X, right? And
Yep.
then when I
Me
was
too.
like fucking 30 something years old,
Yep.
all of a sudden I became a millennial.
Mhm. They moved
And
it.
they moved it. Like they created this new one, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
shifted me down. So it's
Mhm.
like, and they're comparing what I was like. I have this completely Gen X mentality and all this stuff to like the people they're making fun of as millennials that are just like at sporting events with their head in their cell phones like
Yep.
constantly, right? That's where like I remember like they kept make millennials fun of like they would be at like the Super Bowl or whatever, and you'd see like
Mhm.
teenage girls or whatever like on their
Yeah.
phone just constantly ignoring everything that's going on and be like, oh, these are millennials, they don't know what's going on. I'm like, I'm not one of those motherfuckers. Like, I'm not one of them. I was one of you. Why are you all of a sudden making me into that like retroactively? That's not fucking fair. And now for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be a
Mhm.
fucking millennial. And
You're borderline though.
it's I was born in '83. I was Gen X.
Yeah.
I think if you were born in the early '80s, I I think we need to sign a petition together, right? Because I know if you were born around the same time I am, ain't no fucking way you consider yourself a millennial. Okay, you grew up with that grunge rock, hip hop like era when Gen X was the only term used out there, right? Like there was no like there was boomers, baby boomers, and then there was Gen X. You're
Mhm.
skipping like fucking like quite a gap there in between those two, really. And then they started making up like everything else after that.
Kind of.
Well, what was there before boomers?
I don't know.
Boomers existed for like 30 years, and then all of a sudden there's Gen X.
Right, because we were the kids.
Right.
We were the
But
kids
now
again.
there's like every 5 years, is a fucking a new every 5 to 10 years is like a new
Well,
thing.
because of how tech change, they go a lot by the
Yeah.
internet and when you grew up. And because you were born in 83, because Gen X generally ends in 79, right? Now, that's generally what it is. 79 is a cutoff as the last year for Gen X. Because if you grew up in the 80s, by the time you were old enough to really start being like conscious and like that kind of stuff, you probably already had some internet in your life at some point, right? Whereas we
No,
didn't have.
I didn't have a fucking PC till I was 14 years old, bro, in my house.
No, I know that, but
Yeah.
you knew about the internet because the internet started early 90s, right? When did the internet start?
Uh
Internet started coming around in like because I was let's see, I got introduced to the internet and when I went to community college was my first time. I had seen the internet before. I'd obviously worked on PCs, but the internet I've got introduced to a chat room when I went to community college. So I was 21. That was the first time I had been on like online, like consistently.
yeah.
I had been online, right? I had access dial up. I had played Sega Dreamcast online. So I knew obviously, but the browsers were shit, whatever else. So yeah, no. And plus I had limited internet at home as well before that when I was
Yeah.
a teenager. So internet became a thing. History of internet. Let's see here. What year was that? Sorry, chat. We're taking a total side
Yeah.
detour here, real quick. Like let's see. Oh
The
my god, I
early
don't need.
90s is when it came into like
Yeah, when
existence,
people
right?
started.
Or
Yeah.
using it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was in I mean, I was in high school, like a freshman, I think.
Yeah, 1990 through 2003, the rise of the global internet. So
Yeah.
1990. So you were 7 years old when the internet started coming into play. Not like in a
Right.
great way, but it was around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So global internet. So that's probably why they put you there because that's when you would have experienced the internet earlier in your life, which changed society, right? They break that down.
Okay.
Interesting. Total side
I
detour from a
still
conversation, but yeah,
I
I
s-
know, I understand why you say that because you are on the cusp. I certainly do. And you heard you Gen X did filter into your life. You do have some Gen X to you because you do remember obviously what the 90s were like for sure.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's like I
Yeah.
mean, I graduated like I was in high
Yeah.
school in the 90s, you know what I mean?
Right. I'm talking
Like
early 90s. Right. Right.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
the 2000 was my like
And you
senior
even got
year.
some 80s. And you even got some 80s to you.
Yeah.
Late 80s, but you got some 80s to you enough to remember. So you even got a little touch of that. I don't know, man. They just want to make you a millennial, dude. You're a millennial. I'll
I
just use that.
yeah.
I'm just gonna call you a millennial from now on.
Saying
That's
it's
it.
not fair. I'm Gen X at heart, man. And I
You're Gen
always
X
will
at
be.
heart. That's cool. We'll accept you. We'll accept you into the group. Um, let's see here. Let's get back on track again. We took a total side
Yes.
detour. Sorry.
We have some
Uh,
stuff to get to in the
okay,
chat.
go ahead. Go ahead. Get to it.
Okay, so we got the Decado 10 one earlier for the
Mhm.
750 digital games, right? Okay, so
Yes.
Stay High FFF with a $10 super chat said, to your point about the next gen hardware, if that were to come to fruition, that would be the
Mhm.
end of the need for exclusives if you could access any game on a single device. And at that point, it becomes about the quality and how well the device runs the games, not necessarily the games that are on the device, right? So like that would be that world, right? Um, I
I
think
mean, you could still keep the exclusives the way they are now because they're on PC and they're on
you could
Xbox, right?
also have exclusives and subscription services, and those could be
Correct.
access points and selling things too to drive
Correct.
revenue for companies, right?
Correct. Correct.
Like they have started. That's the
Right.
way movies and TV shows are right now too, as well. We got Spartan661 with the $5 super chat says Xbox is going to let you know what they want you to know. Is that a
Mhm.
bad thing? Microsoft can do what they want to a certain extent.
Yep. They
Xbox
don't give
will
two shits.
prevail. Yeah. I mean,
They don't care.
yeah, we're money to them.
Yep. And like I said, we'll have questions answered. We'll probably have some unanswered questions out of this thing, and we'll probably have some new questions
Yeah.
from it too. I'm not expecting full transparency. They're not going to give us the whole roadmap. They're not going to lay out their plans for the world to see. They're going to try to obviously come with the right language, explain what potentially the case by case scenario is for the games, and kind of calm down the fears, maybe mention that new hardware is on its way, maybe give us a glimpse if they're feeling kind of frisky. We'll see. But yes, I don't think, they're going to tell us what they want to tell us. I think that the messaging is going to be the thing that they've worked on the most to try to get this across to the community.
Yeah. Lore Master Jasper, member for 28 long
Shout out
months,
Jasper.
says, I am not Gen Z, 1996. What is Jasper?
Jasper. Yeah, he would be Gen Z according to that.
Yeah,
He's Gen Z.
You're Gen Z. If I'm a millennial, you're fucking Gen Z, bro. Like, it's not. You stick with it. Why don't you start wearing a shirt with a big Z on your chest? I'll wear one with that. I'll wear one with an M. Fits.
There you go. I'll take the X all the way.
Oh, damn, the X would be cool.
Hardcore, yeah, hardcore X. Let's go.
Generation X is the coolest, isn't it?
We're the ones that don't get attacked at all. People have started noticing that.
Yeah,
we don't get messed with at all because we don't give a damn about anything. We don't. We grew up. That's what we're known for. We don't give a damn about anything. But if you come for us, you better expect a battle. Just don't mess with us. We won't mess with you. We don't want to get in your business. We don't give a shit about your. You can see that from me all the time. Like I am a straight up Gen Xer. We don't care about your business. Do your thing. Just don't come into my business and don't try to bring your business to me either. Right? That's all that's all. We just want to be left alone. Period. That's what Gen X was all about. We just want to be left alone and let us do our thing. We're hardworking. We don't generally take the victim route or try to cry about things. We generally hide our feelings. We toughen it up. We were that generation. Again, we were the last generation to drink out of hoses in the summertime. We were the last generation to be told to come home when the lights come on. Right, exactly. We were the last generation to go outside and our parents tell us when the lights come on, the street lights come on, get your ass home. That was our rules. Like that was our total rules. Like that was it.
See?
So
Gen X,
100%. Gen X, yeah, exactly. And you may, like I said, you're on that cusp for sure.
No, I was, and they took it away from me because they fucked up on the dates.
Yeah, you should start a petition.
I think we should, like
a movement.
I guarantee you, everybody that's my age does not consider themselves a millennial.
Oh, I'm pretty sure too. Yeah, no, I would agree with you there. Yep, I would agree with you there because there is a big difference.
Yeah. Caper Grant 692.
Ooh, Caper, what's going on?
With a 5 Canadian says, born in 83 here. I'm definitely Gen X. See? 100%.
Yeah, I know Steele. I know Katie the Goat. I know there was still places that did the drink out of hoses and come home after dark. I get that, right? I understand that certain places did that still, but again, a lot of places didn't and stopped doing that after my generation.
The shit that
the helicopter pilots or the helicopter parents started right after our generation. The hover parents, the parents that were the bubble parents, right? They started after that generation. Our parents kicked our asses out of the house. And if we came home hurt, rub some dirt on it was what we got, right? Like that's how we were treated. Our parents didn't give two shits about us. Like if we were missing for more than a day, maybe they'd start thinking about it. That's the way our parents were. Like if we were gone and maybe gone for a day, we slept over at a friend's house and didn't come back home, they'd be pissed, but they certainly wouldn't send out the cops or be freaking out. They'd go to bed. They'd wake up in the morning like normal. And then probably about around noon the next day, lunchtime, maybe mom would go, I wonder where he's at. I wonder if he's okay. That's the way our parents freaking were, bro.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I had my buddy pretty much lived at our fucking house, bro.
Right. Like, and how many times did his parents call checking on him? Never.
He would check in like every 3 days.
I had buddies like that where my mom would finally go, you want to call your mom? Just make sure to let her know that you're not dead. Like that was legit the words used. Like, just let her know that you're not dead and that you're being fed and everything's okay.
Yeah. It's the truth.
It is the truth. Bab, I didn't want to end this show without talking a little bit more speculation about some of the things that we've heard about the games. I don't know if I specifically heard, maybe I did, but where are you on the game side of things? Now we heard the craziness, we heard all the rumors. Basically every game out there was being, I
Yeah.
mean, again, said at one point. I saw Jez even say, "Oh, wouldn't be shocked to see Halo come to PlayStation at some point." Listen, everything was thrown out there. Of course, he was halfway joking, but he was upset at the time too. What do you think as far as the games? Do you think they're going to clarify next week, at least on the games of what, not game by game? They're not going to run it down, but do you think they're going to give us some general thought process
Yeah.
about the games? And do you have any specific ideas of what they're going to do with that?
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna have like a list and be like, this game's gonna be coming, this game's gonna be going there, this game's gonna like this just, and they're not gonna if even if they say that a lot of the rumors were false, or they say something like that, or like they don't have any, or if they say that they may say like we don't have any plans to put this on any other platforms, we don't have any plans to do this, if they did walk some stuff back, or if they never planned to begin with, or but they're not gonna ever say never either, right? Like we learned, like these companies don't operate in like in that way, because they are always going to keep open some kind of possibilities, right? So it's not going to be what people, well, no matter what they say, it's kind of, like nothing's going to be really what the people want to hear, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't know how they're going to do that. It's going to be the biggest PR fuck for them to have to figure this out, because of these rumors that were spread. They never, like I said, like you want to be able to control your message. They didn't get that chance, because this it really, in the matter of like, I think like a day or two, is kind of
Yeah,
went from like something that was kind of concerning for them to like all of a sudden it exploded to this massive thing, and it's like,
right.
oh shit moment, right? And I like they should have tackled it way earlier and not let that ever happen, but it did. So I don't know how they can come out of this business update event as like really giving, unless they had like some crazy surprises and the awesome stuff, like it came away winning that way. But like, I don't think that's that kind of thing. It's called a business update event, you know? So, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting seeing their messaging, but like, I think we may get some clarification on some specific games, like
Mhm. Okay.
maybe like Starfield or Hi-Fi Rush or something like that, and
Indiana
say,
Jones?
I don't know if they would go there yet.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
possibly. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, it's going to be interesting to see what they say, because I don't think they're going to be like we're going there like we're going to dispel or add credibility to every single one of these
Mhm.
rumors, right?
Right. Right.
But I know that's what people want. People want a complete and ultimate transparency. But I think they're probably going to try and figure out a message to try and do that. That's very PR and corporate. Um, so I don't know. Like, I have no idea what to expect from it. If I was
Yeah.
to make a guess though about like the games that I expect to be going
Mm.
multi-platform, like
Yes.
based on as much stuff that's out there, right? I would say that I at this point would think it's more possible that the ZeniMax Bethesda side is be more likely for those games to be timed exclusives, right? ABK games remain multi-plat, and then Xbox Game Studios games to remain exclusive.
Mm.
If I was to make a guess,
Mhm.
that would be kind of where my mind would be right now about what their thoughts are. Um, but I don't fucking know, man. Like, so, but that means like if Cinemax Bethesda, you guys got to realize what that means.
Correct.
That means games like Elder Scrolls 6. Oh
Mhm.
no, wait, hold on. Yeah. Elder Scrolls
Yeah.
6. Yes. That means
Blade, Indiana
Blade,
Jones.
Indiana Jones, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So maybe they would consider doing those as timed exclusives and keep Xbox Game Studio games like Avowed and other stuff there exclusive. But I don't fucking know, man. Like I Could
You
be
know,
nothing.
words
There could be just Hi-Fi Rush, and that's it. It could be like
it could be.
there literally could just be that. Who knows? I just think there's more fire fuel to this than just that one game at this point. But it's gonna be interesting to see. Like that personally, like I don't. I think it's bad for business doing that if they make that decision. I don't think it's a good decision for them to make.
Mhm.
But I also really don't fucking care. I'm
I
just
know
be
you don't.
real. Like
You made
I
it clear. I get
I
it.
I don't I
Mhm.
could honestly care less, right? I would again call Satya Nadella like weak and not really doing the best for the Xbox customer, and looking at just dollars and cents and stuff, and kind of backing down from what they have a lot of potential for.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
like the whole let us compete thing, I would call that all bullshit, right? And I would call him weak if that's the mentality that he potentially could be forcing upon this whole thing, right? And but ultimately, like that's just looking at it from like criticizing a
Mhm.
business and what their
Sure.
business moves are, right? Like emotionally for me, it has no effect whatsoever because just like today, I'm going to boot up my Xbox and play on what I like. I'm going to play the games I like on the device that I like and the ecosystem that I like. Whatever they do, whatever they say about potential games going wherever will not change that in any way.
Right.
Regardless if it's no games going other platforms
Mhm.
or if it's all games going to other platforms. I'm going to
Mhm.
play where I want to play
Yep.
because I enjoy playing there the most, right?
Right.
So for me, that's why I don't care.
Hmm. I don't disagree with you. Again, we both think it's a bad business decision. I would love to see the Xbox brand continue to strengthen. I want to see competition with Sony. I am, concerned about a couple things. If Xbox were to bow out or to change, if Sony was the premium high-end console on the market, what they could do with that. But again, consumers are going to have to make decisions. If they decide to make $100 games, you're going to have to make a decision if it's worth it to you or not, right? If they change how they market their games because Xbox is no longer a quote unquote threat to them, then consumers are going to have to decide if it works. If they want to invest in that Sony ecosystem, it all comes down to us and our buying power at the end of the day. I don't think it's a great business decision. I want to see them compete. I wish, I want to see Satya's words. If it's competition you want, let's compete. I want that to be a reality. But I've also heard Satya say that he doesn't believe in exclusives, right? I've also heard say Phil wants more players to play their games than ever before. I would like to see it go in a different direction, 1000%. And I understand people who are invested in the ecosystem want to continue to see it remain strong and mean something for their invested dollars. And I get all of that. And I see people in the chat saying the same stuff. I understand you and I get you. As I posted on X, the one thing I did post this week, for me, it doesn't matter. Unless you are a person who is legitimately going to quit the hobby, right? Because Xbox may not keep everything exclusive, may go full third party, whatever case. I don't care what direction. If you are going to quit the hobby because of the decisions Xbox and Microsoft are making, then that's meaningful for you, right? That matters to you. Again, I have been through every change in this industry from the starting point to now. And the hobby has always adapted. The hobby has always transformed. The hobby has always evolved. And I've been there right along with it. If Xbox becomes an ecosystem that is no longer valuable to me, that doesn't respect my dollar, and I don't want to play there anymore, then I would move on from Xbox. But that's not the case. Xbox is still going to own some of my favorite developers. They are still going to publish and produce some of my favorite games, whether that is exclusive or whether that is multi-plat. So I'm going to continue to be a consumer and a customer. They will continue to get my dollars. When Elder Scrolls 6 gets ready to launch, I will be there, whether it's exclusive or whether it's multi-plat. I will be there day one because Bethesda is my favorite all-time developer. Same goes for Obsidian. If they choose to put Avowed elsewhere, I don't care. I will be playing Avowed day one. So personally, has no effect on me. If I take a step back and I look at it from the business side, and because the competitive side in me is there, and because I want to see them push Sony, and I want to see this evolution continue, and I don't want anybody to get complacent anymore, like we saw Sony do during the PlayStation 4 era and only start making one type of game from their first parties. I know there's other games out there, don't get me wrong, but you guys know what I'm saying. The majority are very similar type games, and they no longer were the Sony that I grew up with that tried a lot of different things. Yes, they bought a lot of different things as well. That's cool with me, but they had a diverse lineup from their first party. I would like to see that Sony back again, and I want to see Xbox try to push them. From that standpoint, I don't like these decisions if depending on what they decide to do. I do agree with you, Mav, that I think if I had to speculate right now on this before they say anything, I think there is some leaning internally with the numbers guys, with the shareholders, with that kind of stuff, that ABK games and ZeniMax games do go multi-plat. And that first party Xbox Studio games generally stay exclusive. But I think there's even some room in there for games as a service like Sea of Thieves to potentially go elsewhere, right? But I think that we are truly what we're going to wind up in is a case-by-case basis. And yes, I've seen the people in the chat. We've talked about this before, Mav. Doing it that way, not having clear directives on what games are going to be exclusive and what games are going to go elsewhere leads to the continuous annoying questions after every game announcement. Is it going to be multi-plat or is it going to be exclusive? So unless they decide that going forward, let's say the summer showcase, they will clearly state after every single announcement whether that game's going to be Xbox ecosystem exclusive or whether it's going to be multi-plat, that continuous talking cycle will be out there. And that, as much as I love to talk about this gaming industry, if there's one thing that I do get tired about, I initially will talk about it and speculate on it, but I do get sick and tired of conversating about if a game's going to be multi-plat or exclusive, because we don't have those questions, generally speaking, on the Sony side or Nintendo side, but it's always about the Xbox side. And if they go to a case by case and they're not clear, it will be every game. Do we think this is going to be the one? So I generally agree with you there. Last thing I want to touch on, Matt, is Game Pass. I'm going to give you my thoughts up front. I said them in the DM, so you probably know where I'm going with this a little bit, but I've been thinking about this. And I know there was some late rumors added to about the Game Pass stuff. And, again, push all that aside. If there is a place where I do think, and I've got this creeping suspicion, where I do think they could go back on promises and change things from a business standpoint, if the numbers guys are in the room and they do have a big voice, which I do believe at this point, that's the case. It's Game Pass. Not that Game Pass is going to be gone, right? But I think they could go back on some of the talk that all first-party titles are going to be day one. So my thought is that I don't think Call of Duty's coming day one.
Yeah, that seems like
ever. Yeah, I think that this is where they could make big changes to Game Pass. I think that even potentially, again, this is my speculation. Again, nobody get upset about this. This is just my speculation. I don't want this shit to happen. I want Game Pass to remain the same. I want everything going day one. As a budget gamer, Game Pass is the best value in gaming. Even if they raise my cost subscription of Ultimate a few dollars to cover for that stuff, I would be about that. I wouldn't like it because they're a $3 trillion company. They can afford not to.
I
But
think it
even
would
if
be
they
a
did that, I'm still
mistake
in.
too not doing it. But,
Yes, correct. Correct. So I want this all to stay day one. But I think, again, business decision. I think Game Pass could be altered. I think the deal that they originally offered in Game Pass could be altered. And I think that we might see some games being held back from day one. Not that they'll never show up. I don't think a Call of Duty will. Maybe a Call of Duty couple years, older Call of Duties might go into Game Pass, but I don't think we see that stuff. Future big AAA games like Starfield, or like I should say like Elder Scrolls 6. Let's use Elder Scrolls 6. Could be delayed 6 months before it shows up in Game Pass. I think that's where we could see the changes. And I think that maybe that's the spot that kind of hits home for a lot of people if they start doing that. But I think I think they're looking at Game Pass heavily because it has capped. And again, I disagree with the business decisions. I think you could push Game Pass more than they do. I think that if they did hold steady with exclusives and tested the waters, that's my biggest problem with all of this. If any of this is true, is that they never gave it a chance. They never tried out what the full power of Xbox could be with all these acquisitions and maybe see if the numbers moved in the right direction if they do these changes. I don't agree with it. But I say that we know Game Pass is kind of stagnated. And if they're looking at those numbers, that's where they could make some cost saving moves and alter the deal that they originally proposed to us. That's my creeping suspicion. Matt, what do you think about Game Pass changes?
I don't know. This has like been something that seems like more. It's just been the talk about that has been more just less about rumors and more just community generated about like.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah.
Hardly.
And I hate to see the advocating out there. Like that's one thing. That's when I went and did the Mavcast the other night, Pong. Like that was what I saw going on that triggered me to do it because like I do those when I'm like, what the fuck is going or like I got something to say, right? And like I saw that discourse and I saw the results on that poll. I'm like, have y'all lost your fucking damn minds? Like we're sitting there advocating for them to give us less value. Who are we as consumers at the end of the day if we're sitting there looking at what's going on and saying like, oh, please don't make games not exclusive anymore. Please don't let somebody else play it. Instead, take away my Game Pass games. Yeah, that's a way better solution. You're fucking yourself over. Like, why would you want to do that? Why would you? And first off, there's no this or that scenario. That's a whole completely like made up thing as well. They don't have to do it's one or the other. Like this fucking $3 trillion company and Xbox is profitable and they're fine. Like, yeah, the whole industry right now is kind of this bubble scenario right now. And they're kind of looking at things and stuff, but like you don't want to give them like ideas about like, well, see, everybody in the community is fine if you take Game Pass away just to keep your games exclusive. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, you're really we're at the point because of this whole thing. The rumors that have gone crazy and stuff and the fear about losing exclusives on some games that people in this community are actually advocating for less value as a consumer, advocating to spend more money to keep other people from playing your games. Right. I get that it's a bad business move for Xbox and Microsoft, and it's not the best thing for Xbox customers at the end of the day. Like 100%. I think that, right? But I'm not going to fuck myself over because of that decision. I'm not going to say, well, hey, you know what? It's my job as a consumer to elevate you and make sure that you guys are doing okay, Microsoft. So I'm going to give you all the pass on this one. Go ahead and fuck me instead of giving somebody else something because you decide you're wanting to be greedy and make some more money. No, like, come on. And there's no world where I'm going to advocate for that. In fact, I'm going to advocate for like more value and more games and them getting behind Game Pass even more and like putting every game in Game Pass and even doing more and really marketing it better than they've ever done before, because they do a shit job at that with marketing Game Pass to the average consumer who doesn't know what the fuck it is a lot of times. So there's a lot of the potential there that they've squandered, and they have more potential than ever before if they do stuff like that. So never am I going to advocate for that stuff. Do I think there's any truth to any of that? I have no idea, because I would think it would be the dumbest ass thing that they could do. Do I think there's going to be potential changes in Game Pass? I think there will always be shifts and fundamental differences and changes in the Game Pass over the years, and maybe changing tiers up, changing what games go in certain tiers, maybe changing pricing on certain tiers and all that kind of stuff. I think it's always going to be evolving with stuff. But I think that ultimately, like, this whole like drastic Game Pass is a failure. Microsoft is Xbox is going bankrupt. It's no longer sustainable. Like all these things that are being spread around there based on nothing, right? Like based on nothing, that we have to try and like come up with ideas as consumers about how Microsoft can make sure they don't need to put games other places. Like it doesn't make any damn sense to me, bro. I think there's going to be, obviously with ABK, is probably going to be some different stuff with Game Pass, and like either more tiers, changes to the pricing structure, like whatever. I don't know what it's going to be, but you know, I kind of like but based on the fact that they haven't just told us yet, or that none of thing has happened yet with the ABK stuff. I think that ultimately, like those games are still going to go. I just don't know, like, if Call of Duty is going to be day and date, and some of the ABK games are going to be day and date. But you know, I think they will be at some point, and I don't necessarily think it would take like a year or two. But we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I just think it's the easiest path if they're going to do something.
Yeah, I think it would be a mistake even then. I put them fucking day and date, man, and market the shit like fucking Call of Duty commercials, like play day and date and Game Pass, fucking like.
That will be my biggest disappointment again, is that they never gave it a chance.
Yeah,
all this work, all these acquisitions, right? The pandemic screwed up a lot of stuff. 2022 screwed up a lot of stuff. All this happened, some of it out of their control, some of it within their control. But the fact is, they went and I can't imagine being Phil if some of this stuff comes true. Him busting his butt all this time to make it happen and turn around Xbox and put him in a position where they have, let's face it, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, house full of devs ever assembled under one publisher, and not see what happens with the mind share, not see if they can grow Game Pass to that 100 million subscriber mark that they talked about in the court documents, not see if they could start seeing the graphs moving upwards. If, to Mav's point, they marketed the hell out of it with all these new franchises that they just brought on board in ABK, and made some different moves within that, maybe bring World of Warcraft in, whatever. Not to have it at least attempt to grow it after all this, that'll be my biggest disappointment if they wind up making changes and just saying, no, we're going semi in a different direction. I just, that is, man, because what could have been, man. What could have been will always be there in the back of my head.
And that's the core. Sure. That's the core of it, right? Like they're not in a danger position right now.
Hell
that
no.
people are making it
they're
out
in
to be.
Control.
They're so fucking big now, and it like, they may have a lot more expense also, and they obviously want to be as profitable as they possibly can, and make everybody happy, make the meet their goals and meet the board happy and stuff. But like at the end of the day, the decisions that they make, right, they're not in a position of struggle, right? Like in a
Yep.
position of decisions for the better future of
Mhm.
their ecosystem and making money, right?
1000%. Yep.
So my thing is that they're an okay. I mean, they're okay. They
Yeah.
have the potential to really think it out and make the right decision. And I think ultimately the best decisions revolve still around Game Pass, and they revolve around giving the best value to the customer. But you got to do better with the messaging and the marketing of the products that are there, right? And now, especially with everything that you got, everything that they got now,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You have the ability to really shove that in people's faces like never before and really see what it could do. And I think that's what they should do. Like at the end of the day. Now we'll see what they do, but I I think giving up because of making short gains here and there, right? Or like, we're gonna have a little bit more sales here, so we're gonna make a little bit more money. It's gonna be better for our our books right this quarter and all that kind of stuff, right? That's obviously like the corporate
That's
way of thinking and all that kind of
sure
stuff.
shareholders.
But
That's the
that gets
numbers,
so
guys.
many fucking companies into trouble, bro, when they don't
We
have that
see
long
time and time
term
again.
vision. And
Mhm.
what brought Xbox back from the brink
Mhm.
was the long term vision.
Yep.
It was the long term vision to be,
Mhm.
and they've become what they are now with that long term vision, right? If they keep that mentality and mindset and really just keep putting their gas on the fucking pedal, there is no stopping how strong this brand and everything they can be, like really, because they are a monster in the space, right?
Yep.
But they can be the quintessential name in gaming
Mhm.
if they really, really wanted to be and really
I
put it
believe it.
down to the pedal to the
Yeah,
fucking
sure.
metal and got
Yeah.
that like Peter Moore type attitude right behind it
Yep.
and
Yep.
everything. And so like I'm fucking I'm going with what Phil's original vision was when he started this damn thing. I'm sticking that all the way through and keep going that route because that's been the thing that it has gotten this position to where they have gotten a seat at the table at Microsoft, right? They
Mhm.
got in that seat at the table. Don't let Microsoft then pull the chair out from under you, you know?
It may wind up being that Phil made a deal with the devil by the ABK deal, getting Microsoft to make their biggest purchase in corporation history.
Yeah.
Xbox was Xbox was obviously noticed. Xbox now had a seat at the table. This is what I was telling Steele in the background. If you look at it from a corporate political point, when the ABK deal came along and they got Microsoft Corp to open up the wallets for $70 billion, the biggest one in their history, the numbers guys are going to flock and they are going to start looking extremely hard at that business model. And they are going to expect, even if you say, and we know for a fact they are profitable, all of a sudden you are at a much higher profile level now within a huge $3 trillion company. And I think that kind of let them in the door. And they think, Mav, to your point, we've seen this in time and time again. The numbers guys get involved and shit goes down the tubes and they screw up things and they screw up plans. But human nature being what it is, everybody believes they're going to do it differently. Everybody believes their idea is better than the other people's and that they know what they're doing where others didn't know what they were doing. But unfortunately, numbers guys, they, as much as they may think they know the business, they don't understand consumers and they
Yeah.
don't understand the people on the ground. And that's the difference.
Sh-
Phil understands, but the numbers guys, not so much.
short-term gains can ruin
Yes.
long-term visions.
Long-term visions, correct. Yeah. And not to say again that they're in trouble. Long term, we're probably going to see more profit out of Xbox than we ever
A
have in history when we're talking 20
100
years from
fucking
now.
percent. Yeah,
Right.
no matter what
Right.
they do, really, to be
No matter
honest.
what
Yeah,
they do, right? They have built the ultimate team and they're just going to continue to build that ultimate team out. They control so much power right now. They are fine. It's never about the death of Xbox. It's just about what the vision could have been when we talk about, like Mav was saying, their brand within this industry and what it could have been in totality versus maybe just the numbers guys saying, well, yeah, but we could be maxing out profit by doing it this way. And you give up some of what it could have meant to the video game industry as a whole. But again, we'll have to wait to see. Nothing's been decided. Next week is going to be crazy as well. Can't wait to get back here and talk to Mav about it and everybody
yeah,
else in the Fun Speculation family, because any answers we do get, again, are going to left. It's not going to be. If they came out and laid out the entire roadmap, I will be happy. But I don't think they're going to do that. So we'll still have
yeah.
questions unanswered. Maybe some questions will be answered, hopefully. But we'll have the messaging at least. I think we are going to get a message. Whether or not you believe that from them, I saw other people in the chat talking about the trust factor. A lot of trust has been burnt, broken, unrepairable at this point for a lot of people. Not myself personally, because again, I don't have that emotional
Yeah,
attachment
and
like
it's
that.
so crazy because
But
like it didn't even
but
come from a message that they had,
no,
But
but there's going to be a lot of people, no matter what they
yeah,
say, don't believe it, no matter what.
yep.
No matter how they present it, no matter what they do, we're going to see that next week again in the
Yeah.
community.
After this thing, there's going to be a fucking fallout, one way or the other, right?
Of course.
Like it's either you're gonna have people trying to get credit for it. You're gonna have people calling out the people that call other people wrong about things. You're gonna have people like maybe say, "Oh, I'm never gonna play on Xbox again" or whatever. Like who knows what happened? But I guarantee you one thing: unless Xbox comes out and like, hey, here's a bunch of free shit, like, and like we're buying another company and like we're getting like unless our shit like we talked about before. Let's say do something crazy to just hype
Oprah
up.
Winfrey.
Yeah.
Phil's just like, everybody gets a new console. 2026, you all are getting brand new consoles.
Game
all
Pass now includes a console,
Yeah.
Like unless they do something fucking crazy, you know what I mean? It's just so like awesome, like that there's gonna be a bunch of fallout. The only way they could twist that is if there's some kind of celebration. So I don't know, but that doesn't seem like that's what this kind of event would be. You know what I mean? So like
a business
update event. I do have one question real quick before we get out of here. I also got to get to super chat.
Yeah, super chat from Say Hi FF.
Do you think they're going to like do this as like, okay, hey, tune in on Tuesday and at this time for our business update event, or do you think they're just gonna fucking drop a video and a blog post?
I was just going to joke that it'll probably be behind closed doors, and then they'll do an Xbox Wire post about the details they want to give us.
Yeah. So
right.
I mean, because they said event, I would think there's got to be some kind of video to it, right?
I think there's going to be a video. I think that maybe it was originally planned as like a high level deal, but I think now either Phil or Sarah will be on video to talk to the gamers directly about not everything, because I think there's some high level stuff I think this plan was a high level exec kind of meeting planned out and maybe including some of the lower level people to give them a heads up of what was going on. But now the gamers are included. So I think Phil or Sarah comes out with a video summarizing the message to the gamer side and addressing the rumors and giving us as much clarity as that they're willing to at this point, kind of what it looks like in the future for Xbox. And then potentially, like I said, hinting at that next console generation to squash that kind of stuff. And stay tuned for more exciting announcements as we get closer. We got the big showcase coming up. We can't wait to show you what we got planned. I think that's definitely included, and I think it is a video. I don't think they can
Yeah,
Again,
it's
they
not
don't.
gonna be
I
a
always say
live
this.
thing. Like, I don't
No,
think so.
no, no, no,
But
no, no. It's gotta be a round table. It's not gonna be open for questions. There's gonna be any of that shit. And again, I always say this. Who knows? Maybe they just do a blog post because
yeah,
again, they can do whatever the fuck they please because it's a business. They don't give two shits about our emotions at the end of the day, our feelings or any of it. They don't care. But I think Phil and Sarah know the importance of it. So I think we do get a video response from them and a layout of what the gamer side it means to us. And I
yeah,
think that it will come to that.
yeah.
Yep.
I almost wondered if they would have like a scripted question asker, and then them do like scripted answers almost, right? Or
Maybe.
or they just have like, hi,
Mhm.
my name's Phil. I'm here to tell you some things.
We
And
just got done with the business update event. Let me tell you, it was great. Here's
then-
what I'm going to tell you.
yeah,
It was a party in there.
yeah, we're excited to be talking to you about the future of Xbox and what it means for us and for you as the gamer. Our most important part of this, you are the center of everything that we do. And now, after Activision Blizzard acquisition, there are more of you than ever before, and we thank you for that. Now,
Yeah,
because of
please
that,
don't
there
patronize
are
me. Oh,
now
Jesus.
because of the acquisition and all of these new gamers that are enjoying the Xbox ecosystem, we have made the decision to stop manufacturing Xbox consoles, and we're going to start putting every game now on PlayStation and Nintendo. Um, by the way, don't worry, your digital storefronts will still be around for about 3 months. That's awesome for you. You can still subscribe to Game Pass and play on PC. You can still play in the cloud,
Why are you making
or
this so
you
bad?
can play all of your games on PlayStation and Nintendo because they're Xbox gamers too.
And we're giving you a $50 credit for all your games towards the Xbox Windows
Yeah.
Store.
And Microsoft Rewards is phasing out.
Stop. Okay, now you're doing awfulness. Now you're
And
just oh.
no longer are you going to get your games day and date in Game Pass. We saw your feedback. We saw your poll on Twitter. And we
You guys
know
just want to
that
buy games
instead
full price.
of paying for Game Pass and getting games day and date, you would rather them come out later into Game Pass. We heard you. So we're going to do that because you are at the core and the center of everything that we do. And thank you all. Have a nice day. We're
I do
rich
not co-sign
bitches
this at all.
and
Yeah, I don't co-sign this at all, Chad. This is not how it's going to go down. It better not. I do think that they throw us a bone, somewhat, Mav.
Shadow Drop.
Some backwards compatibility for some of the Activision titles would be good. A roadmap.
Shadow Drop
And
Tower Born at the Business Insight event or business event up there.
No, sir.
Look
They're
over
not gonna do it.
here. Tower.
Yeah,
Look
that's what I'm
over-
saying.
look
Yeah,
over
shiny
here.
objects over here. Shiny objects.
Ooh.
Shiny objects.
Tower Board, look at this, everybody. You get to play it today. Ignore everything else.
And here's Todd Howard just talk to you about Starfield DLC.
Oh, man.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I think it's going to be clear and concise, and I think they throw us a bone in there of a little something, whether it's talking about the hardware, future hardware, or giving us an initial drop of backwards compatibility from some of the titles that they will do. So I think that's what we're going to see.
Yeah.
But who knows? It's
That's
a business update event, so it could be Satya going, "Fuck you."
You're a little
Nothing
bit.
exclusive.
Yeah, your take is a little bit more realistic than what I think is going to happen.
You
So
think so?
yeah,
Okay,
a
I
little
hope
bit.
so.
Yeah,
Because if what happens, you say that, yeah, expect scorched earth on the internet. That'll be
if
over
what
with.
happens is what I say, I'm gonna get emotional. I'm gonna get emotional then. Like, what the fuck just happened here? right?
There will be a mad rant for 7
I
hours.
told
if
everybody
that
to
happens.
calm down, and they come out there and they just fuck us like that. Really? No. All right. Yeah. Speaking of super chats, Matt McDonald
Hit 'em.
Media.
Shout out to Mac McDonald Media. What's going on?
Hit us with the. Did I already say this one? No.
I think you
Hit
might
us
have.
with the $5
Yep.
Canadian. Says not knowing what games are going to be exclusives of what got Xbox here to begin with because their console didn't sell because of poor messaging with exclusives. Yeah. And also not having any games in 2022. Didn't help.
And I'm going to say a lot of the messaging came down because I think the internal discussions were going on during the ABK acquisition for the entire time about what Plan B was, what they were looking at going to do, and I don't think they knew specifically how they were going to do this or what their final outcome was going to be. So I think that messaging was a part of it. That mixed messaging, that kind of all over the place messaging. 1 minute Phil's saying one thing, next minute we've got word from CFO Tim Stewart that something else has happened. I just think it's because there was a lot of internal strife going on. Well, I won't call it strife. I'll just say discussions going on during the entire ABK process, and they didn't have a clue how they were going to approach this. And they might still not have 100% clarity how they want to do this. So,
yeah,
we'll see. That's just my own personal thoughts. Again, guessing. Nobody knows.
And then Stay High FFF with a super generous
Triple F. 25. Let's go, Triple F. Let's
Super
go. We
chat.
hit Mach 3.5 before the end of the show. Let's go, everybody. Let's go.
Fuck yeah. Choo choo, motherfuckers.
Choo choo, motherfuckers. Let's go.
Choo choo, motherfuckers.
What do you say? What do you say?
It said, I say, put the games everywhere, the revenue that it will generate from allowing more people to purchase. The game will make up for the money lost for Game Pass, not expanding as fast as they would like. Keep the day and date for Game Pass.
One way to go.
Yep. I don't think we're in this world where it has to be one or the other. You know what I mean? That's kind of been generated online. I think they're good if they continue what they're doing, but you do it even better, right? But we'll see what happens.
We will
see what happens. Thank you.
Well, Mavo, yeah, thank you all again. Much appreciated for the over 200 people showing up tonight and listening to us cover this. Again, we didn't cover any other topics. This was obviously, again, I've seen a lot of things in this community. We've all seen a lot of things in this community. A lot of different points of emotional stuff happen in this community. This community is filled with drama. I say every week they give us something. Obviously, people like, oh no, it's Alex lives off this stuff. So it continues. But this week was extra. And I mean, we had to talk about it. Again, I say that obviously not literally. We could have ignored this whole thing, but this is big. This goes into everything we've kind of been talking about. This could be the signs of a big philosophy change. It could be a signs of rumors running wild and nothing really changing or a little bit change. We had to talk about this stuff because this is the future of gaming that we're kind of getting into here when we're talking about the transformational process, the evolution potentially of Xbox into something different. Like, this is important stuff. These are times we're going to look back on when we look at where the video game industry is 10, 15, 20 years from now and know these were pivotal points. And so this is important. Mav and I love talking about this stuff. I know a lot of people get sick and tired of it, but it's the way we've always been. It's the way our channels have always been. And we're going to talk about this when it comes up. And I thought we did a great job tonight. First time I've been able to talk about it all week. So I haven't had a real chance to speak some of the thoughts, and it kind of works itself out because I don't write this stuff down and I don't, sit and figure out how I'm going to talk about it. So I'm just kind of get my thoughts together on it. There's a lot here. There's even a lot more that we didn't talk about, but
yeah.
Thank you all for joining us. I do want to leave you with this quick thought for everybody, because I will never miss a chance to once again pour gasoline on and fan the flames and point and laugh to the hypocrisy of the mainstream journalism, especially in video games. And my God, Mav, Foam Stars and Helldivers 2. Again, I'm excited to play Helldivers 2. Foam Stars, I give two shits about. No previews. No preview copies went out for reviews. No review copies got out. IGN, of all places, they put out a Suicide Squad full review, Mav, in a matter of days. And yet they chose to do an ongoing review of Foam Stars, but no review of Helldivers 2.
We'll see how the foam changes in the coming days.
There's only a couple scores out. but no talk about it, Mav. I didn't see anybody putting their hands up and going, oh, red flags, no review copies, early review copies. No. Suicide Squad, as far as I'm aware of, Mav, we were told and it was confirmed that the servers weren't live. And due to the fact that it is a live service game, therefore the review copies wouldn't have mattered anyway because nobody could have jumped on because they didn't have the patch yet. That excuse was being used for Helldivers 2 today. And it was accepted. Burn, baby, burn. The legitimacy that you all believe you once held onto and you guys still have the illusion that you do have continues to degrade week after week, day after day with these decisions. You have no consistency whatsoever and you don't care. You are a disservice to every single viewer, reader, anybody that you consider a consumer of your content. You do a disservice by not being consistent, by not holding the same standards to every single applicable situation. It's apples to apples. Foam Stars and Helldivers 2, no review copies, and nobody threw up red flags. Nobody wrote articles. Nobody did anything. I saw articles go up about the problems for Helldivers 2. That's great. None of the pre-articles went up. Why haven't we got our review copies? It's pretty shady business. I don't know. Companies shouldn't do it this way. What are you hiding? Why are you withholding it from us? Fuck off, all of you. Okay? Burn, baby, burn. I don't care. I like some of y'all. I don't put you all in the same group when it comes to journalists. I like some of y'all, but you guys do not have any integrity left. Zero. As the corporations go, as the companies go, you have zero integrity left. Sorry. I'm just going to end it there. Can't believe it.
They suck ass.
They do.
Decado hit us with 5 memberships, bro. Choo, motherfucker. Thank you, Decado.
Otto ends it. He says, let's go. The hype train, the show might be ending, but the Fun Speculation Network hype train continues to roll down. Mach 3.5 wasn't good enough. Let's hit Mach 4.0. Let's get another car added because those people that get tickets from me right now, they're going to come back next week and jump on the hype train as it rolls through their town. That's right. Buckle up, everybody. Mach 4.0 is nothing to sneeze at. The 5 bomb from Decado, the easy layup, all net. He got on the court, showed everybody how it's done, keeping this channel ad-free in 2024 and bean free. No coffee being sold here at this moment in time because the goal for this channel for the month of February is now down to 2,358 for the month of February. We're on our way, and Decado is helping that out. Thank you, Decado, for that. Appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Another great episode of PM in the PM. Love being here with my brother from another Mav, who I was excited to talk to about this stuff because we've been going back and forth in DMs a little bit, but it's nothing like getting on this show, having the chat involved, having you all come up with all different opinions. And again, I got to give it to you all in the chat. We have cultivated these types of chats where, yes, there was plenty of disagreement in that chat, but it's never over the top. It doesn't get personal, and we can have conversations about it, even if you don't agree with us. Again, it's happened many times in this show, but I love when you guys come in here level-headed. There's no right or wrong answer this time around, folks, because we don't know shit, right? We don't know anything. All we know is rumors ran rampant. People jumped off the bridges, and we're here to say that isn't the case. Let's wait and see what happens. But we're going to speculate a little bit and give us our, give our thoughts about what potentially could happen. And that's all we're going to do. So thank you all for being here, and thank you all for being who you are in this community. We need those passionate gamers out here, not just the talking heads, but those in the chat as well, those that listen. Even if you lurk the entire time, you are giving us your time, and we appreciate every single one of you. Thank you all for joining us here tonight on PM to PM. Mav, we got more coming up. We are going to play some Helldivers 2 right now, but tomorrow night we got the fam coming in for Xbox Ultimate. I'm sure there'll be plenty of opinions tomorrow night, plenty of laughs as always, but what else is going on, brother? You going to be streaming? You going to be doing anything special?
Maybe some, keep my ear to the X. To the spaces and see what's going on Twitter and stuff, and if anything happens, maybe I'll do another stream this weekend or something. But Other than that, yeah, just gonna be having our show tomorrow night, Xbox Ultimate Podcast, and then next week, regularly scheduled programming should be Monday and Tuesday for FSP and Fun Pop, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and then back here on Thursday. But yeah, man, I'm really just kind of want to see what the hell this all shapes up to be. Like,
Yeah.
if I have an opportunity to, if they like give us a heads up, and
Yeah.
there's like some kind of actual stream or something,
Sure.
I'll,
You're gonna
I'll,
co-stream
I'll
it?
co-stream the shit out of that. A business update
Hell yeah.
event, that'll just be fun to make a thumbnail for. Let's go. Uh, but yeah, maybe we'll co-stream that if it's a thing that to co-stream. I have no fucking clue, right? But we'll see. I would love to co-stream a business update event. Sounds
Maybe
like
they'll all
fun.
have a dance off like back in the
Yeah.
day for Windows launches.
Maybe that would be great.
It'll be Satya
Yeah.
and Phil and Sarah just
Yeah,
dancing.
bring back Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates.
Please no. Let's have fresh dancing.
Okay,
Not those two.
you sure?
Those two are awful. Yeah, I'm sure.
We did get a $5 super chat from
We
Spartan
did.
661. Says
Smart 6.
the Messiah known as Phil Spencer, aka P3, is going to put you ignorant people in your place. Sarah Bond is the queen to follow and will show you the way. That's the attitude, man. Have faith. You gotta have faith, right? Sky,
Correct.
until something bad happens, I'm gonna stay positive. Right.
That's borderline idolatry right there, but we'll roll with it.
Yeah.
It's positive. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Until something happens, I'm gonna keep a smile on my face.
Until they say they're shuttering the doors and they're selling off all their developers. Again,
Yeah,
I have zero problem. Let's go.
yeah, that's what it'll take to get me a little bit upset.
Or if they do away with Game Pass, I'll be a little bit upset.
No, yeah,
As a
like
budget gamer.
you did mess with my fucking wallet.
Game Pass. Yeah.
You know,
That's what I'm saying. But that's okay.
You know,
Then I'm
mess with my
in control of my money.
mess with my games, right? Got a problem.
We're going all mobile.
I will say the only thing that I kept thinking about occasionally is like, man, it's gonna suck that these developers are gonna have to port some of these fucking games instead of using those resources.
It's resources.
Yeah, I would rather them be making new games, you know, instead of fucking. I don't care. I don't care about the other gamers. I want more games myself. You know what I mean? That's the only like. That's the other thing, but it is what it is. All right, Pong. What about you? What you got coming up?
Sir. Well, I got Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night for sure. I will be there tomorrow night. I'm going to be playing some Helldivers 2. You might see us streaming. Don't know. Obviously, somebody might stream. Maybe Steel. Maybe Mav. Who knows? But we're playing games, and that was the other point of my post this week. Was make sure, as much as all this shit's going on, make sure it's still the golden age. No matter what happens here, this is still the golden age for gaming. Because never have I seen this many great again, 2024 is on pace now to beat 2023, hands down, as one of the greatest greatest years of all time. Make sure you're getting out there and enjoying what's actually happening in games, because there is something out there to play that is absolutely fantastic. So please keep that in mind through all of this shit, because that's what you can find to hear is we're still going to be talking about games because we're playing a ton of great games, what we believe are great games, and that's all that matters. So get out there and enjoy that shit. Jay Rembert with the 5 bomb. That's right. Jay Rembert's not going to let the show go. He comes onto the court with the 5, the easy layup. Thank you, Jay Rembert. And he says, even if it's rumors, this has damaged the brand tremendously. I agree. It's a PR nightmare. The way that it was handled is a PR nightmare. From my opinion, they have damaged the brand by not responding right away. But again, I don't run trillion-billion-dollar companies. Again, at the end of the day, I know they don't give a shit about what we say. So whatever. But I do agree, Jay Rembert, from a personal standpoint, I do agree that there's been some damage done here. But you can find me Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, where the family gets together. We go left, we go right, we go up, we go down. We laugh a lot, but we do talk a lot of gaming news. And I'm sure, again, there's going to be some cool opinions from different perspectives tomorrow night as we get the fam together. So be there for that. Saturday morning, I already hinted at it early in the show, but if you weren't here, Living Split Screen will be live. Myself, my brother from another Steel Rain, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, live, raw, and uncut, 4+ hours. Buckle up. This Saturday's going to be interesting. Steel and I have already had conversations. we still have different perspectives on what's happening here. And I can't wait. Steele has talked about it this week over on Boom Show, but I can't wait to get with him on Living Split Screen and see if I can figure out where he's coming from and see if I can explain my point of view. It's very rare the two of us come from different. We're not like far apart, but he does have a different view. I'm not going to give any of his shit away. I'm going to let him explain it on Saturday because I can't wait to question him and see where he's going with this. But Living Split Screen is going to be fun. We're going to have some new thoughts there. We'll probably get into some other topics as well that happened this week because there is some other stuff that we do want to talk about. So be there on Saturday morning for Living Split Screen. Set those alarms now and be ready. Buckle up. It's going to be a fun time. And then, of course, Saturday nights, the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself. I don't know who the guests are going to be this week, but it's going to be an interesting conversation there. The best way to end your Saturday night is the Shop Podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time. Be there for that every week. And then, of course, next week it starts all over again. Tuesdays, Double Barrel Gaming. Mr. Boomstick is the man. Of course, it's Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. All good things green, including my brother from the Steel on panel full time over there. Who knows? We might have the announcement by then. Boom could be rocking and rolling on shows all week on this stuff. We just don't know yet, but you got to join Xbox Factor no matter what. And then Thursday, God willing, back here, same bad time, same bad channel, Fun Speculation Network for another episode of PM in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. You can follow me Xbox and X, formerly known as Twitter, Pong Soul. You know where to get me there. Hey, you can even follow me on Steam, Pong Soul, Steam. Hit me up. I'm playing more on PC now too. Go ahead. I'll follow you back. But listen, y'all, it's the golden age of gaming. It truly, truly is. Please, please, please. I know a lot of you enjoy this stuff. I know a lot of you don't enjoy this stuff, but get out there and game. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Please, please do that. And 3-Bit comes through and he bought himself a ticket at the end of the show. Actually, he's already got a ticket, so he bought one other person a ticket. He bought a single ticket. Thank you, 3-Bit, with the one bomb. I appreciate you. We don't discriminate here. We'll take a single every day of the week. The goal now is 2,388. Let's go. Let's go. A little bit extra credit in there. Listen, y'all, Golden Age is here. Get out there, play what you love what you play, and I'm going to talk to y'all real soon. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Yeah. Got one more super chat. Jay Rimbert with $5.
Oh, I did not see that. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, it said even if it is rumors, this has damaged. Oh, you got that one?
I talked about that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
talked about that.
I'm sorry.
I agreed personally. Oh, you're not even listening.
No,
you got your head down. No, you got your head down in your phone, millennial.
No, I thought I was.
No, he was reading Twitter. He's a millennial, folks.
Yeah, he was. I was on Twitter.
Oh, we've seen this too many times. See, there we go.
Okay. All right, and you got the 3-Bit thing.
Yes.
Right,
Oh,
thanks.
oh,
yeah, you did.
He didn't even realize I. Millennial.
No, that's just my fucked up mind. Everybody, you've been real. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you all have a fantastic night. Peace out.
Bye.